And welcome back to episode 725 of the Unpaid and Underrated Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Big Keith, joined as always by my good buddy here, Big Joey.
Hello there.
And we have special guest crew this week, Big Jim. How you doing, buddy?
What's up? Good. How you guys doing?
Welcome to the podcast, Jim. Is that Jim Riley, correct?
Correct.
Awesome, cool. Just want to get that out there. So Jim, what are you drinking this week, buddy?
Well, I got a polar cranberry lime, and to back
Nice.
that up, I got some water.
Now, was that water or wada?
Water.
Or
Water.
how do we say that on this episode?
Well,
I
I'm
did get a
from
kick.
Queens, so we say water.
Yeah, that's close enough, right?
A New York City accent.
There you go. So I got a Fairlife protein this week. So I'm going to remind Joey again. This is very accessible to him. He's just got to go and buy it because he's always talking about wanting to hit some more protein. So super easy, kind of expensive, but super convenient. And then I've got a orange cream bubbly after that.
I'm actually back to kind of regular weight. I think I cut back a bit on the Zins, which helped increase my appetite. Started eating a little more calorie dense rather than just like sandwiches and vegetables. So I actually weighed back in around 163 today, which was dope because getting under 160 just hurt. I don't know why. I felt like lighter and but you know what I mean? Like I didn't feel strong.
Yeah. But then you get under a bar and you're like, oh, okay, that extra 10 pounds probably helped.
Yeah. I'm drinking a Michelob Light. I got myself a Puppers. Get this guy a fucking Puppers.
That's a Mick Ultra. That's not a Mick. Is there a Michelob Light and a Mick Ultra? There is a Michelob Light, right? That's like a different thing. That's a Mick Ultra, I believe.
It is.
You guys,
Look at you, you
Yeah.
beer connoisseur over there.
If there's one thing I know, it is if there is one very small thing in the beer market I know is what a Mick Ultra can looks like.
The cranberry lime that you're drinking there. Have you guys ever heard of the bog spiders?
Negative.
No.
Okay. I learned this today, and I'm sure I'll get corrected if I'm wrong because sometimes my information comes in. But so cranberries are native to North America. Okay, so they're mostly like the upper regions, so North America, maybe Europe, I don't know. But what they do is they use wolf spiders. You guys ever seen a wolf spider? Okay,
It's a big spider, isn't it?
They're big motherfucker. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So they'll actually use them as pest control because it's cheap and easy, and of course they're just natural habitat. But when you harvest cranberries, all you do is throw them in the water. You just knock them off a bush and they float because they're hollow. But what happens is all the wolf spiders go with them. So what wolf spiders do is they want to crawl on the tallest thing to get out of the water, which is usually the farmer standing in the water. So apparently it's a thing for cranberry farmers to just be absolutely covered in wolf spiders. Wolf spiders do bite. They're not poisonous or anything, or sorry, venomous. Yeah, they're not venomous. But their bites don't feel good. So yeah, I learned that today. Since you see a cranberry, and I was just like, ugh, spiders.
I just had a floor is lava moment and literally started sitting cross-legged to get my fucking feet off the floor. Oh, yeah, that's creepy.
I can't wait for somebody to correct me. Like, no, fucking dummy. Cranberries are native to Antarctica. Wrong again, Joey.
It's because of this.
Yeah.
So I'm a very anticlimactic. What are we wearing this week? Because my only Massonomic shirt is a dirty deadlifter shirt in my gym bag in the van, way too far away to go get. So no Massonomic shirt for me this week. What about you, Jim? What you wearing?
I got the pocket tee.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
I'm wearing, I was going to do a sack segment and then realized I don't need to. I am wearing my new Coach Carp shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got Carp's Gym on it. He mailed me some Pioneer stickers, some Carp's Gym stickers, sent me a Massonomic sticker, and a nice little letter to which it says, "Big Joey, look forward to seeing you deadlifting in a Karen cut Carp's Gym shirt." So I don't think I can get Karen to cut it, so I will just have to try and mimic her style. But yeah, these sleeves are probably coming off. However, maybe not, because this is actually a really soft, good blank.
Yeah, I think he did a couple runs of those. I think he did just like a more cotton one to begin with, and then he did a poly blend that I jumped in on a couple months ago. It's a very comfortable shirt.
This might be the blend. I ripped the tag off like within seconds of putting it on, so I didn't look at what it was made of. But yeah, if it shrinks at all, then these sleeves are definitely going to get yeeted.
Oh, so how about Brad the Pad taking over the world today? That was amazing. Like I saw it briefly this morning because I think the Discord was chirping about it before I had to actually punch in. But I didn't look at my phone from like 8 to 5 o'clock basically. And then Tanner had posted it, and like there was a whole Instagram thing going on with it, and just obviously anyone listening should know who Brad the Pad is. Good friend of the podcast. At least 50 memes were posted today, maybe 30, but several memes. Tanner got in on it and made a whole reel explaining who Brad the Pad is, which I thought was great. Like that might be the most featured crew like post I've ever seen. I thought that was amazing. That's definitely what the Instagram page was needed to finally get strong. So I thought that was great. Did you guys get a chance to consume all that?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely great. It's good to see him finally getting the respect he deserves. That was a tough job to do.
Yeah, sure was.
So for those of you who maybe missed it, because like obviously time is a flat circle, so everything in Discord goes very fast. One of the Davids posted just a superimposed Brad from the Lift Hard Leave Easy event throwing the pad under the Titanic. And then Big Kevin RSG said, like, are there any other natural disasters that we probably shouldn't but will manipulate with Brad the Pad? And it went off. And I think two of mine got featured in the reels. One was kind of cropped wrong, but people were just doing like the Hindenburg and Humpty Dumpty, and I threw one under at the Waterworld poster because that wasn't a natural disaster, but it was a financial disaster. My niche one that I'm not sure a lot of people got was when the tower from Game of Thrones killed Oberyn, the Viper, and everybody
Yeah,
lost
that
their
went over my
mind.
head.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be so niche, but I'm throwing it
Oh
out.
yeah. I
Definitely
got it.
made it
Yep,
in there. So yeah,
that
that
was
was really
great.
fun. I even threw it in a Halifax Explosion one, but I guess that was a little too niche that it didn't get included in reels.
uh, Matt mostly squats had the one with Mike O'Hearn, which was great.
And the Kurt Cobain one was great too.
Oh, but he
Good.
also did one with Superman on the horse before,
Oh
that
yeah, the
one I was like
Christopher
I
Reeves
didn't
one.
love that one. Wasn't a fan of like that one was I don't know. I felt bad for that one.
I was explaining them all. I was showing Morgan and I was like, "Hey, here's some catch up on the Discord because these are really funny." And I showed her that one. She's like, "I don't get it." I was like, "Oh." Now I have the luxury of explaining that.
there was a Kurt Cobain one which was probably a little too gruesome, but I laughed. The one with Kabuki was hysterical with Duff
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
um Chad threw one in there with me and the Italian restaurant in freaking Aberdeen, which is great. What was the one that Ryan posted where it was like where you said oh no to, and it was just like a blurred out image
Oh, okay.
with like the wood
Um
paneling in the back.
so that was when the singer of one of the original black metal bands blew his head off, and
Okay.
the guitarist, or the other way around, I can't remember, but the one that's still alive is Varg, and he went and took pictures and collected pieces of the skull to wear in a
Ugh.
necklace. So yeah, that one was very niche, and probably like only me, Matt, and Ryan got it. And if anybody else did, awesome for you. But I was just like, oh no, that's oh.
Yeah. And then was it there's the Chad made a Kobe Bryant one with a helicopter, which I wasn't a fan. Like there was a couple that I was just like, oh man, that's too sad. But 99% of them I laughed my ass off at. So
Yeah,
well done crew, well done Tanner to give everyone their props on Instagram today. That was pretty cool to see.
yeah, yeah. And the fact that he posted that reel was really cool as well. Yep.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I had a good so I'm out of town this week, and so I can only take so much sparkling water with me because usually I drink one or two a day, but it's a pain in the ass to like pack a whole bunch of drinks like that. But I was and I go into customers' homes to do service work all day long, and I almost never get offered anything. And when I do, it's like in apartments you wouldn't feel comfortable eating or drinking in half the time. But this week was the exception. It was like two very nice young girls I was talking to, shooting the shit with for a while. I think we were talking about freaking Grey's Anatomy or something because it was on TV, and I was talking to them for like 10, 15 minutes while I was doing my work in there, and they were like, "Oh, I was getting ready to leave," and they were like, "Do you want a sparkling water on your way out?" And I was like, what do you mean a sparkling water? I was like my eyes because some people mean like they might mean like that carbonated seltzer water that has no flavor or something like something that I wouldn't have enjoyed. And then she showed me she had lime bubbly, and I was like, fucking A, right, I want a lime bubbly. Thank you so much. I was like, this is amazing because like was almost been going through withdrawal because I hadn't had one in like a day or two. I was like, this is amazing. This is literally perfect. And then I immediately drop it on the goddamn floor and have to wait a couple hours to even drink. Or I think I waited like an
Oh,
hour to pop it open
amazing.
because I was like, motherfucker. But I
Yeah,
just want to give those girls a shout
hands
out
were
because that was
shaking. I gotta get
yeah.
into this. I gotta
I was
get
like,
into
oh.
this.
So I just thought that was nice of them.
um, so you crossed out a couple things. You got this Kabuki follow-up TLDHR.
If I mean, I think Nate had joked about if there was going to be a too long didn't read, basically a quick follow up. So, our friend Jake over at Garage Gym Experiment had the new owner of Kabuki on. He basically gave a very detailed description from his point of view of what happened in the last 18 months or so with his dealings with Duffin and Kabuki in general. So, long story short, they gave Kabuki a line of credit. This gentleman and his son, I believe, they have like their own little business. Essentially, they're just like entrepreneurs that are in like a wire manufacturing business. So they're nothing to do with sports or anything. Just big investor people. So he gave Kabuki a $2 million line of credit. With the collateral being all the IP, like basically the entire company was the collateral.
Mhm.
They burned through the 2 million relatively quick and did nothing with it. Did not turn a profit whatsoever. Took some other loans, defaulted on them. Uh, that gentleman took over Kabuki, let the CEO go, promoted Duffin to be the CEO. Duffin did nothing to like progress the company in the few months that he had. They let Duffin go, and now they're moving the whole plant to South Carolina. Basically, quit making most of their bars, and they're trying to pivot to see what the market wants them to do. And I don't know, don't see too much good coming out of like I don't see them innovating anything else or ever producing anything. They did their thing they're trying to sell right now is a like a squat harness pad thing that you can kind of hook up to a belt squat, which to me is counterproductive to what a belt squat is. It's supposed to take all the pressure off your upper body, not put a SSB yoke essentially on your shoulders to then tie into a belt squat.
What?
They did release a new version of the Transformer bar, which I don't fucking like. It's like the 19th Transformer bar.
Who
Not my
asked
cup of
for
tea.
that?
But then,
Sorry, man.
yeah, they're also doing like an SSB attachment. That's basically it's like other companies have been making something like this for years, and there's just not that much of a market for it. But essentially, it'll just clamp to an existing straight bar and put safety squat bar handles coming out of it, so it still won't have
Why?
any of the camber. The only thing I could see, my buddy who's going to get one as like a free test or whatever, I was like, just try it and try it for front squats. Because if I could add that to a regular barbell and be able to get front squats without whatever the mounting mechanism it is way in my way, that would keep me from having to buy like because there's companies that make like front squat bars, which is basically like an axle with handles coming out, which would allow me to like get a good front rack position without having to cross my arms and if it was $100 and it would basically allow me to front squat perfectly, maybe I'd consider it, but I don't think it's going to do what I want it to do. So I don't know. I think Kabuki's more or less dead or will be dead in the next couple years. So that was the too long didn't read or well, too long didn't listen because it was like an hour long podcast. But the guy had opened up like he went, it was crazy. Like I'd never heard anyone actually throw like specific numbers. He was like $2.4 million and $600,000 and like very, very detailed of like specifics. It was very, very, very interesting. And that was my story. Did
Oh,
what
here's
about the
dogs.
oh yeah, so Godzilla and a his
His custom
custom.
mask.
Did you order that? And what did he order that from Skinny Idiot Studio or Skinny Idiots,
Yeah.
dude? Or did he make it himself? I'm not sure.
No, that one was custom.
Dope. Dig it. Um, did you guys get a chance to watch the YouTube video? I think it came out Friday, if I recall. The Juji grip challenge with the typing test and before and after where Tanner somehow got better or stayed the same at typing.
I did watch that one
Yeah.
actually, most of it.
Yeah.
I
All right.
have zero reviews because I was also I think doing dishes while I had it playing.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Jim? You gotta tell us. You gotta carry it. We need like 3 minutes of Jim talking about it.
Yeah, no, I watched it. It was very very interesting. The typing. I'm not a good typer, so to me, just their typing was impressive. But no, they were. It was good to see the chalk up before you use a gripper and like different techniques to close them. So I always enjoy their videos.
When was if I recall right, Juji just threw chalk in Tommy's face, just like
Yeah.
he had a literal bukkake of chalk on his face. The entire episode was great.
Which makes sense for the episode where they sat down and interviewed him. With Tommy was filled with chalk, so it all kind of made
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, it made more sense now looking back on it. I think one thing Stephanie had pointed out is it might not be necessary that Tanner wasn't feeling the pain that the other guys were. I think he just had a different technique of the way his wrists were. Like he
Mm.
was basically he was like zero forearm where the other guys were using their forearms. I likes to kind of to type where because I don't know, my wife like types all day and she was like I can see what he's doing different and I could see how he could like kind of still be able to type because it's just all fingers. So I thought that was kind of interesting. My wife actually watched the majority of that with me and enjoyed it.
My wife.
Which will before we get into reading last week's episode, I just wanted to say kudos to last week's guest, the crew wives. I thought that was an amazing episode. I think it was one of our most well received episodes. It had multiple people DM us, had multiple people shout us out in the Discord, and said they enjoyed it, said they found this tidbit or that tidbit, and I think all the guests enjoyed it. So, what did Morgan have any feedback after the fact? Or the
No,
days following?
she was listening to it, but it's been a shitty week. So.
Not necessarily to the episode, but I guess the act of being on and recording or anything. Because I know Stephanie was very nervous going into it, but had a blast.
The same. Yeah, she was kind of nervous
Awesome.
going in. She was nervous all day, in pain because of her tooth. But at the end, she was just like, "Actually, I enjoyed that. I had fun." I was like, "Yeah, I knew you would."
I think when we got in recording, it was funny because like we obviously recorded in separate rooms just for the audio quality and whatnot. And I was like, "Do you kind of get it? Do you kind of get like what I do every week and how awesome it is? And like this is just fun. You're just shooting the shit for 2 hours. Like this is the most fun thing ever." So she was like, "Yeah, I definitely have a little better understanding of what you do and why you enjoy it so much." And I was like, "Thought that was cool. That might get her." To be less angry with me some nights when we're like, I'm in the spare bedroom fucking like laughing my ass off at 11:30 at night.
All right, you want to rate last week? The Greg Nichols?
The Greg Nichols episode. Yeah. I let Jim. What do you think, buddy? How did you enjoy it? What's your rating? All that?
I enjoyed it. I did really never knew all that much about him. I mean, I know he was on the podcast before, so it's always good to hear something new. I would definitely give it 5 JD Power Awards. Yeah, I mean every episode I liked. So it's it's I just really enjoy them and you guys, and everything they do is always usually pretty good. So I like them.
Perfect. We appreciate it. It's that's nice to be listed in good company like them. I'm sure they'll appreciate be listed in the same sentence as us. I mean, it's if anything, it's bound to help their reputations to be listed with the Unpaid Underrated podcast. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I liked all I liked when Tanner was throwing him the old timey strongman guy and trying to see if he knew who he was, and then he responded with basically like the shepherd that was like the marathon that basically broke the world record marathon just because he just didn't stop. He just didn't take a break. He just shuffled for fucking like 4 days straight, or whatever the fuck it was. I thought that was very entertaining. My favorite parts, I guess, was Knuckles talking about his mom. If I recall right, the first time she ever got under a bar, basically, she worked up to fucking 315 and just like dunked it and was like, "We're good." I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's crew that probably can't squat 315. There's like there's male crew that can't squat 315.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
So so I don't know how that was very impressive. And then I just loved hearing about like he's got these monster giant family members and his like uncle just fucking overhead pressed 405 for reps, which I thought that's where the story was going, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so funny because like just squatting 400 or 405 for is still pretty cool, but like it's not that impressive. But to fucking overhead press, which it's like, really, did you like? I almost felt it. I almost felt it was too hard to believe. Like, how the fuck can you like not lift for 20 years and then rep out 405 overhead press? Like, how's that possible? Because that means you'd have to like at your peak almost overhead press like 500 or 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Which I mean, theoretically there are people that do that, but like fuck, like 405 overhead for reps is just baffling to me. So for all that, I will go ahead and give it 5 out of 5 Greg Knuckles mothers.
Oof. Yeah, or sitting at the family reunion and his cousins are like, Yo, you haven't hit an 800-pound pull yet? Oh,
Yeah.
like you just
Thought you
just
were
pick it up. Like, shut up.
thought, thought you were really into this lifting thing.
Yeah, yeah. He's oh yeah, you just got started, eh? Like it's your first time. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, the shepherd that I think Kevin gave us some more insight. Dude just lived on his mom's farm, just herding sheep, and then beat the second place person by 10 hours. Right? Like just
Crazy.
ridiculous. And but then ended up 61 years old, married a 23-year-old. So bleh. Um, but I mean, good episode. There were some good laughs. You could tell he kind of gets it, right? It's always better when the guest gets it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, for that one, I'm going to give that 5 out of 5 straight days of chasing sheep.
One follow up I had is I obviously I know what macrofactor is. I didn't know that Knuckles was macrofactor, and I assumed
Yeah,
I
good
don't know if he
point.
was. So that one kind of was like, oh, didn't know that. So
Me either.
that was
Shocking.
interesting to learn.
I also
Yeah.
didn't know that. Who's Christophon? Like,
What about Jim? Did Jim know before the episode that the
Greg,
fuck is his name? Knuckles
Knuckles?
was macrofactor. Yeah, I didn't know that either. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just so many people doing different stuff. It's hard to keep track of anything anymore, honestly. But Big Jim, you got a Massonomics ad read you want to hit us with?
Sure. Are you looking for a podcast that'll help you get strong, stay strong, and use your strength? Do you rate your crispy boys and sparkling water using JD Power Award system? Do you know what's in Tanner's? Do you want to know what's in Tanner's sack, or if Tommy has seen it? Well, I have the podcast for you. It's the boys from Western Northeast South Dakota called Massonomics. They release a new podcast every week where you're guaranteed to have a silly goose time, and their apparel will have you the best dressed in any situation you find yourself in. From there, you can always join the crew. Some people call us a cult or a gang, but we're way stronger and sillier than any cult. All we ask is don't be a bozo, and you will be welcomed in.
Bozo's a good one.
Nice, that's a good one. Well done, Jim. Appreciate that, buddy. Well, you want to kick? I mean, the only looky loo this week is Carp, our loyal fan. I guess we got to kick him out and then see if we can get Big Jim on the phone.
All right, yeah, get ready. Hey, Big Jim, is that you?
I'm here.
Hey, welcome to Unpaid and Underrated, the podcast for crew, by crew, and relentlessly mocked by crew, and now even some people outside of crew. Still looking for who that Ireland listener is. Every week
Oh, yeah.
we got one person in Ireland that downloads this episode, and I have no clue who that is, and it's kind
Oh
of
yeah,
wild.
that was a general topic we probably should touch base on briefly before we get into Jim. Like, what did it say our lifetime downloads was? Was it weird? Do we eclipse 20K? Is that what it was? I could have swore that was the most recent. Which to me is just
I can find that right
crazy.
now. Yeah, 20K.
I'm pretty sure that's awesome. Congratulations, buddy. We did it.
Nice.
We did it.
Good job, Nate. Thanks, buddy.
Good work.
Well, honestly, I know we always I always say it, but like I really like it is a three-legged machine here. Like Joey and I are here every week doing all the talking, but without Nate, spending a couple hours a week or whatever he does, like this wouldn't happen because I'm not producing this shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how.
Yeah, be like,
All
Tommy,
right.
do you want another job?
So, Big Jim, we met at Lift Hard Live Easy. We
Correct.
had a brief conversation, I think in the lobby of the hotel, where I learned a little bit about you, but I think it's time to share it with everybody. What brought you here to Massonomics?
Well, I found them because I had started working a desk job and I needed something to listen to, and I was just one of my coworkers had said that I should get into powerlifting because I just needed something to do. I wanted to get kind of in shape, or at least somewhat in shape. And so I just I went on YouTube and I just started powerlifting podcast, and Mark Bell came up, the Powercast, the original one,
Mhm.
and Massonomics just kind of came up as one of the recommended videos, and that's probably I kind of started listening to them probably around episode in the 40s, 50, something like that.
Oh, wow.
So they were kind of still new. Yeah, it was the three of them, Tanner, Tyler, and Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, ever since then, I just kind of been listening every week. It was easy to catch up on the backlog because it was like, one day was them, and then the other 4 days I just would listen to like an episode each day, and I caught up on them pretty quick, and I've listened ever since. So that's how I got into Massonomics. And then the crew, I was like, there's, I don't know, am I going to join every month? You kind of go back and forth. And then finally one day I was just like, all right, let's do it. And I did it, and it's just great going into that Discord. There's so many laughs you can have, and just so many really good people in there.
Yeah,
you got
So
a low number too. What's your number on your card?
I was 60, and now I'm 41.
That's crazy. You got us host beat, I believe.
So
Definitely got me beat.
yeah, at first I was a little disappointed I didn't wait a little longer to get 69, but I guess if that I would have dropped anyway. So
Wow, did we find out, has anyone posted who the new 69 is?
no, not yet.
I don't think I've seen who the new 69 is.
I was 66 and I haven't received my
Mm.
new card, but that math would check out then.
You'll be
66
you should
minus
be
19, so
you'll be
probably
40-ish, right?
yep.
hmm.
Which is
All
crazy
right.
how many crew have dropped off, but the door's always open for them to get back in. Like big Matt left us and then came back in, and it was a really high number.
Oh, down with the arm tats too. He just came back and it's just like, oh no, how long have you been gone? Did you miss the gift? Yep.
So that's crazy, Jim. You've been listening for that long. That's and I love that how many people have found us from the Powercast, or like the Powercast kind of, because it definitely was like the catalyst, I think, for a lot of crew to come here.
Yep. It comes
For a
up a
lot of
lot.
us, yeah. But I feel like I had a bigger void between when the Powercast died and when I actually found like other enjoyable podcasts. So I'm almost envious that you kind of were able to, to springboard right into them so early. How has that been, just watching them evolve? From the three-man show to what it is now to what it was in the middle. Like, there's just such a huge, very few people probably that are still around have like been around for that many episodes, like from where they were coming out live. That is.
Right. Well, I guess when it was the three of them, I thought that Tyler was like, he was the entertainment. He was like the funny one. And they were kind of like more like the straight men. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So when Tyler left, I honestly didn't think they were going to make it. I just thought they were too serious. And then the whole I'm good with the plain ones for the lift shorts came out, and then like from there it's like their personality started coming out, like. And I mean, now I don't see them. I mean, if they stop, it's because they want to stop. It's not because they're not a good podcast and not entertaining.
Mhm.
So but I really didn't think they were going to make it. Uh, but I'm glad they did, because otherwise this whole community would have never have happened.
I know,
And
right? Like,
it's funny going the opposite direction because I'm probably just getting to where you just joined. And I actually can see the Tanner sense of humor coming out, right? Specifically where it's like at the end of every episode, they go, okay, seriously, Tanner, is there anything else this time? And like, that's a running joke throughout a lot of them. And like, I can kind of see it, but it's only because I have the hindsight where I can see Tanner now. Whereas I can also see at the time where you wouldn't have seen that because like
Mhm.
Tyler was such an overwhelming voice and hosting so many episodes about CrossFit. Oh.
and that was our, and I guess we'll call that our Joey, road to the road to the backlog, I guess we'll call it.
We can't even. You know what? I promised I wouldn't say much. I'll just say that I gave a long expletive filled rant through text to Keith today. Just about, I think I'm on. I won't even say which episode, but I was just like, "What the fuck is this? What are they talking about?" Like, oh my god! Oh, it was yeah. Whew. Anyway, moving on.
How about have you got it? Well, have you got to the ones where it's only Tyler just interviewing a random CrossFitter by them? Okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. So,
yeah.
like the ones where the Tommy and Tanner aren't even there, and it's just like one-off interviews. I'm like, oh,
Tyler
fast
flying around the
forward.
world talking about CrossFit gyms. Oh,
Oh, that's good
I'm
stuff.
sure it was necessary at the time.
All right, Jim. So, I mean, from your accent, I mean, if you didn't tell, you already told us earlier. So you're from Texas, right? That's where you're at. You got that big Texas accent.
Northeast Texas, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
around
No,
the New
so
York City area. Yep.
so are you actually in New York City, or are you in like Jersey or something, or are you actually
No, I'm
in
actually in New York City. I'm pretty close to Long Island, but I'm still in the city.
Nice. You are the let me see. You might be the second, or you're the second New York Stater then, with me. I think we had Cesney and then you. Can't think of anybody else that's New York State. So that's pretty
Chris
cool.
Mark.
Oh yeah, so three. Yeah, yeah. Good call. Here I am like forgetting one of my best friends.
Yeah,
That's well done, Jess. Well, the
Jess.
funny thing is, like
Jess Chesney.
she hasn't been
Hmm.
on yet.
Oh, okay, that
She's
have been
on.
on this podcast. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So being on the podcast, where's your Hall of Fame status?
This puts me at 11. So
Nice.
I'm right there.
What's the next
Oh
one?
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What do you think you have the best shot at hitting?
maybe the Arnold next year. I don't think I can
Okay.
do
Nice.
two balls. And then it's my voice on the Massonomics podcast and a contest winner. So those are the four I have left.
Yeah, that'll
Oh
still
yeah,
get you. Well,
you already
12
have
will
four
still get
years.
you to.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 will still get you the cup,
Right.
right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I think.
But
That's very achievable. You just gotta. Would you fly to Columbus, or would you just have like a 12-hour drive?
I don't know. I would have to see how much flights are.
Yeah, yeah, because that'd be a long day in the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from
Oh, that's
Buffalo to Sioux Falls was like $300. So I can't imagine. I can't imagine New York to Columbus is that expensive.
Nah, I
Right.
don't know. I've paid like $700 to go to like Kentucky or Indiana
Mhm.
before, so it's all over the place.
Yeah,
But
it's the 12
that's how
hour
the rush.
layover.
Yeah, yeah,
12
three
hour
hundred dollars,
layover
but
on
it's
your
gonna
three
taste
hour
me.
flight. Yep.
Yeah, my $300 flight that takes 36 hours to complete. That's no
Yep.
fun.
Well, there won't
So
be a
you're
worse layover than coming home from the Lithard Live Easy Classic. I think
Oh,
we
that
all.
was
oh
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
That
you
was a
did
great time. Go ahead.
you are a Lift Hard Live Easy veteran. I know you were kind of nervous going into it. How was your experience? Have you probably met more people than so many like-minded people. I guess just tell me your point of view as someone that was been around for a very long time, but not super active in Discord or Instagram. Almost a wild card and an unknown commodity, even though you have been lurking for a long time. So how was your whole Aberdeen experience?
Aberdeen was basically what I thought it would be. Small little town. Um, the crew was probably better than I expected. Not that I expected anything bad, but I think everybody was just really super supportive and super, understanding. And kind of understood it was my first one, and they kind of, made me feel welcome. As far as the competition, it probably went as I expected. My goal was, to go 9 for 9. But I went 8 for 9. But I can deal with that. There's always lift hard, live easy 3 that I can go 9 for 9. So
There you go.
yeah, that's kind of my goal to get out there again next year and do a little better. But
Love it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was great. It was a great time, with the exception of the flight home. Everything else was great. I
Hmm.
wouldn't change anything.
So let's get into that, I guess. So were you a Sunday departure, a Monday departure? What was your I'm assuming you were probably a Monday if you had all the big issues because I know I was just lucky enough to get out on Sunday and I had like zero setbacks.
Okay, yeah, well, I was supposed to. I left Aberdeen on Sunday, and I was supposed to then have like an hour layover or whatever at Minneapolis, St. Paul. But then my flight got delayed like 3 times, and then it got canceled at like
Mm,
1 in the morning. So I
God.
slept. I slept there in the
Oh
airport.
Jesus.
Yeah,
At
at night.
MSP?
Yeah,
Wow. Like
yeah.
what okay, so like do you have your checked bag in your backpack or I'm assuming and you're just like you just you lay up on the floor or you sprawled out over a couple seats? Like how are you sleeping in an airport? That doesn't sound good.
It wasn't. They gave out like these little air mattresses, which were probably like an inch thick, and when you lay it on, you're sleeping on the floor, but at least you weren't on the floor.
Oh
And yeah,
wow.
I used my duffel bag as a pillow, and that's how I slept.
That's
I did the
unpleasant. Did
same
they
thing
have yeah.
in my first
Oof.
layover. Yeah, I did the same thing. So it was like a 9 hour layover or something. So I was like, well,
Mm.
fuck it, lay down. Right? Nobody else is here for 3 hours. Might as well nap.
Yeah.
Yep.
The worst part is when the flight got canceled, they were like, "Well, the best we can do is we can give you a flight for Thursday." And I'm like,
Thursday. This is like fucking Monday.
"It was Sunday, actually, technically."
Jesus Christ.
And they're
You
like,
did
"Well, you're going to fly standby the whole time until Thursday. If you can't get a flight, then at least you're on a flight for Thursday." I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, what am I going to do? Blow a
we
week's vacation sleeping in an airport?" you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh yeah,
And
because
then
you were you supposed to be back at work on Tuesday?
I was supposed to, yeah. So, um, so yeah, I just happened to get lucky. I caught a flight that just had one seat left on it Monday, like late afternoon, and I was able to get home. I don't know, probably about like 9, 10 o'clock Monday night, and then went to work the next day. So
Oh, so you still went to work. So you didn't even necessarily affect your vacation time. You just like only got a couple hours of sleep.
right,
Oh, man, I'm so lucky I didn't that ugh, no thanks. I'm not envious or no. Yeah. Yes. No, I'm not envious of all the shitty travel everyone else had. So that sounds miserable.
Well, the worst part is when we landed in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We were in like I don't know gate like C-23, and I had to go to A-12 to catch my flight, and I had 7 minutes to get there.
Oh, fuck
So I
that.
just go. So I just went like a full out sprint across the airport, like O.J. Simpson and that old commercial. And I get there, and I'm like, and I mean, I'm sweating, right? Because I mean, we're powerlifters, we're not endurance runners,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I'm looking at the door, and I see the plane, and I'm like, I got to get on the plane. I'm telling the person working at the desk, and she just looks over me and ignores me. And one of the guys is like,
Mhm.
"Look at the board. We've been delayed like 3 hours." And meanwhile, I'm like, now I'm sweating, like just then sleeping in the airport. I felt bad for the guy next to me when I took the plane ride home. Finally, I probably stunk. It was what it was.
Yeah.
So, but luckily, I got my bags a few days later, and everything was still in there.
Well, it could be worse, I guess.
Yeah,
It's always something that could be worse.
absolutely.
So 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 circa like 2018, 19, you got into lifting, or you got into quote unquote powerlifting. Were you already like going to the gym, training at that point? Like what's your fitness journey looking like?
Um, well, I guess I started probably lifting when I was younger, probably like maybe
Mm,
13 or so. Um, I had gotten a little, I guess you could say, thick for a kid, and my mother's boyfriend at the time uh, kind of just made me start working out to try to lose weight.
yeah.
And I kind of like did it until I was 23, and then I tore my shoulder, my rotator cuff playing softball. And then I started getting into it again, and I got into a car accident. I fractured my back, two
Oh,
vertebrae in my back. So
Jesus.
so that took a year to heal. And then by then, I started becoming a commercial industrial electrician.
Hmm.
So I took like a bunch of years off just because, I mean, just being out in the elements and doing some, heavy labor, kind of was all I was
Yeah,
really
if you're
doing. And
working
then,
12, 15-hour days, you're not going to go to the gym.
right. And then in 2012, I started the job, the position I have now, which is a desk job. And I started saying, listen, I can't just sit here for 8 hours a day and expect to, be in decent shape. So I slowly started getting back into the gym, but it was like kind of like the bodybuilding type style, like 3 sets of
Hmm.
10 or whatever, And it's just I used to do a lot of sets like when I was younger, but like I was probably my 35, 37 maybe when I started working out again. So like my body just couldn't take it anymore, and like I was getting all tendonitis and everything. I was all beat up, and then.
Mhm.
Coworker of mine was like, "Well, why don't you start powerlifting?" I'm like, "I'm not strong enough." The usual. I'm not strong enough to powerlift. And,
It doesn't matter, man. You can
that's
have a
what he
700
said.
pound total and you're strong enough to power lift. It don't make a
And then
shit.
plus the fact that like I thought about my doctors when I fractured my vertebrae. They were like never deadlift and never squat because I have a vertebrae that's like kind of it's not in line with the others. It kind of sticks out, and
Mhm.
they're like that
Ooh.
can basically collapse, and then you'll need back surgery. And I like last thing I wanted was back surgery, just to work out. But he forwarded me the PDF. It was the Cube. I don't know if you guys heard of that, Brendan
Yep.
Lilly.
Yep. Yep. I
No.
did. I
And
did. That was my first experience with like doing a meat prep was the cube. I did the cube on and off for probably about 2 years when I was getting into this a decade ago.
right. And so I one day I was just like, you know what? What do I got to lose? I'll just go light, on my deadlifts, 135, and just take it from there. And that's basically where I started powerlifting. And then with COVID, the gyms were shut down and all that. And but yeah, it's been a good few couple years that I've been going steady now. So I'm pretty.
Nice.
I'm not, I'm obviously not 100% happy, but I'm happy with the progress I've
How's the New York City gym scene? So like wherever you live, you probably do you have a shitty commute to get to work. I think you were telling me we kind of initially we had to reschedule because you knew how long you'd be stuck in traffic coming home one night.
made. Yeah, well, what it was is we used to go into the office 2 days a week. Now it's like 3 days a week,
Hmm.
and like one week it's three, one week it's two. So my third day in the week is Thursday, so that would be like my alternating day. And just so happened when I was scheduled was my day I was
Oh
supposed
no,
to be
you're
in the office.
no, I wasn't giving you a hard time about that. It was more just
Uh,
like the whole I my only experience in New York City was driving by it to go buy some gym equipment, and I was like, just like fuck that, I don't want to go there.
I don't
So
blame you.
like, what does your commute look like when you are going into the office?
It's not bad. In the morning, it's maybe 25, 30 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay,
At night, it could
yes,
be
that.
anywhere from like 35 minutes to like 4 hours,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
depending on the weather and everything.
Yep, yep. So then what's your public gym look like? Or I think you had mentioned potentially starting a home gym. It has I guess tell me about the public gym and then tell me if you've gotten the home gym off the ground yet.
So the public gym, the one I go to now actually is probably the best one I've ever used. They have like, deadlift platforms, and they have like, bumper plates, and it's not the best, but it's better than, the last gym I went to, like everybody would just throw the equipment around. So like all the barbells were bent, and the dumbbells, anything over 60 was like a horseshoe, you know,
Hmm.
which is horrible, but that's just the way it was. So it's not bad. I mean, it can get crowded, and it can get crowded with like a lot of high school kids, depending on when you go. So there's that. And you got the guy who's always on the bench, on his phone for a half an hour in between sets,
Oh
checking
yeah.
Instagram, whatever. The typical stereotypes are there. But for the most part, I can't complain. And as far as the home gym goes, that's actually something I'm still kind of working on, trying to get like equipment and stuff together, because right now, November 5th, I'm closing on a house. So I need the home
Congrats.
before I thank you. So I need the home before I
Nice.
can have the home gym. But
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
but
No, that'll be
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I've reached out to you, and you've given me some answers, and a few, Tommy and Scans, I've reached out to with questions. So slowly but surely building it up, so I kind of spend the money now on that, and then when I buy the house, whatever renovations, whatever has to be done, I use that money then. So
Well, that'd be a
You might
good
not.
place to hang your unpaid underrated banner.
it
Yeah.
definitely would be.
Yeah, you are the proud owner of both of those pieces, the t-shirt and the banner.
Yes,
So
I am.
that leads to the question that we ask everybody, now, especially somebody that's been around for as long as you. What is the one thing you said, I don't need to buy that, and now you wish you had it from Astronomics?
Blue live shorts.
You don't have the blue?
No.
Oh.
I didn't realize like the rush there would be for them. I guess I wear a size large, so I guess it's kind of a
Mm.
popular size. And yeah, I was like, I'll get to them. And then a few hours went by, and I went on, and I was like, ooh, sold out. So, but that's the one thing I wish I had that I don't have.
Do I have blue lift shorts? No. There's no way. Yeah, I'm gonna say no, I don't
Yeah, I
have it
don't.
either.
I definitely don't have them.
I've got two black ones. But yeah, you're also the owner of number one bench.
Yeah,
Shorts,
yes. Yes, which I always
which I
laugh
didn't
at.
even.
'Cause if you look at my bench is my worst of all my lifts. So it's
Same.
funny to me that I
I
got
don't even
number
remember I didn't even remember the bench shorts until I saw your post. Like I think that had to be like I was really new to crew, or it was me prior to me really being into it because I was like I don't remember these at all, like
Were,
at all,
were,
at
were
all.
they just the champion shorts with the bench
Yeah,
heavy
yeah, yeah. The
logo?
the
Oh
bench
yeah, I
heavy
don't have
logo.
those
Yep,
either.
yep. And I was just like, I looked at it and I was like, is this? Because I thought it was the blue lift shorts, which I've like heard about. I think Matt owns a pair, and I see him on on Instagram every now and then. But I'm like, I don't remember seeing these at all. Like
Mm.
I'm curious how many active crew still actually. I'm curious how many active crew own some of these like heirloom pieces of like the 100 limited because obviously by proof of everyone's numbers jumping up anywhere from 10 to 40 spots like there's a lot of people that have bought shit that aren't crew anymore that
Yeah,
have some of these limited release items. That's kind of neat.
I
Uh,
have a few, right? Like I've got the curls shorts. I've got the red deadlifter shorts.
yeah, I got those.
I got the lift shit shorts.
one.
Um,
I regret not getting those because I do like the maroon, but I wasn't sold on the logo at the time. But now I'd like to
it's like
have
my
it.
favorite logo. It was the first time Morgan ever looked at me and was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, that's on brand." She's like, "Yeah, that's you."
I just I try to limit the swearing on my clothes, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it just comes out of your mouth at top tier speeds.
Well, it's but my mother-in-law is only going to see the clothes I'm wearing, not listen to my podcast.
No, we're
So
no fucking shorts that say "lift fucking shit," the fucking terrible fucking farm.
yeah. Um,
Sorry, I
I
had
did
to.
want to get I did want to get back on you. So congratulations on closing the house. Uh, this is more of a New York City liver, not like your organ, but like someone who lives in New York City. Do you have to pay more to get shit shipped? So like if you order a power rack, and so say I order a power rack from Rogue, it's going to cost me like $100 to pallet ship it or whatever. Like how much more is that going to cost to get into like some of these fucking boroughs and shit in New York City? Is there extra fees to get shit delivered in the like the heart of New York City?
To my knowledge, no, but where I'm buying the house isn't in New York City. It's actually just north of New York City in Westchester County.
Gotcha.
So it shouldn't be that bad. I don't think there's really anything. I mean, I think it just goes more by like where you live, like your region, more
I,
than
Mm.
the actual
I,
city. I mean, I'm sure if I had to bring like a flight of stairs or something like that, yeah, it would probably at
I
least the guy would
feel
want a little more.
I feel like it's probably the opposite because in a condensed area population, they're delivering more packages. So therefore that cost is a little, mitigated by the fact that they're delivering more to a small area. So
But
you have
anything on a
one truck,
pallet would
I guess, but at the same
because
time, that's like
you have
a
to always pay
pallet,
extra for a lift gate. Like a lift gate versus an 18 wheeler, you're paying more for anything with a lift gate. I guess
but
that's
a
so.
pallet going to Keith's house versus a truck full of 7 pallets going to 7 houses all on the same block, like that
Yeah,
cost would be mitigated, right? So I would
yeah.
I would imagine it's different, but again, I don't really work in shipping anymore. Good question though.
Yeah.
Every now and then I think of something interesting to say. Mm.
Every once in a while. All right. So you are a
I'm old, yes.
masters, masters 2 or 3. I think you're masters 2 at this rate,
Correct.
right?
Mr.
I'm 50, yes.
Yeah, I'll be masters 1
Let's
in like 3 months. So welcome.
Welcome.
And the lift hard, live easy, as we discussed, was your first. Any thoughts of a second, maybe more local?
Not right now, no.
No, not me either.
I think I have enough going on right now, just moving.
Mhm.
So I know my training will probably take a bit of a hit. So, nothing right
No,
now.
the good thing about moving is you don't got to work out that day.
and
Exactly.
once you do become the home gym owner, which sounds like it's pretty much set in stone, you can participate in there's at least 2 a year now of the Joe Gray garage gym competitions. So there's one coming up in a couple weeks that's obviously going to be way not in the right timing, but some of them, I'm sure at least a couple dozen crew will be participating in that here in the next month. So it'll be cool to see.
Nice. Look forward to
Just
it.
another opportunity to challenge yourself a little bit in the basement or the garage. Do you know what you're going to have yet? Basement or garage gym?
So it's actually going to be in a spare bedroom. Um,
Okay. You got
uh,
to get small.
yeah, no, it's a pretty decent size for a gym, but it's
Mhm.
like small for a bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They actually use it right now as a home office, but you can
Gotcha.
get a rack in there, a bench, all that. That's no problem. I'm taking measurements. It's a decent size.
Perfect, perfect.
Main floor,
That'll
second
be
floor, of
awesome.
Main.
course.
So it's a raised ranch. So the lower level, I'm gonna have probably family is gonna move up with
Mm,
me,
okay.
and then I'm gonna be on the first floor, on the main floor, whatever you want to call it.
I'm sure they'll
So,
love the deadlifts.
Mhm.
I
well,
deadlift in an unfurnished basement or an unfinished basement, sorry, and you can still feel the whole house. Like it rattles the foundation some days.
probably,
Yes.
but it'll be over the garage, so that's a little better.
Okay, good.
Well,
Keith, what's your least fun, most fun today?
I got one for you there, Big Jim. So you familiar with our relatively new, uh, segment I have here? It's called least fun, most fun. So I'm gonna give you one topic. You're gonna tell me your least fun thing about it and your most fun thing about it. So for Big Jim Riley this week, least fun, most fun, being a New York Jets fan.
Oh man, uh, the most fun is probably the suffering you can share with fellow Jet fans.
I love that. Like the most fun thing is misery loves company.
It's ennui.
Essentially.
Yes. The least fun is probably just knowing you're not even going to win anything next year.
There is no next year.
Yeah, not with a 44-year-old Aaron Rodgers, I don't think.
Right.
But you did just pick
So,
up. What do you think about picking up Devonte Adams? I'm as him being my receiver on my fantasy. I hope they have a resurgence. I don't think it's going to happen, but I need him to get me 15 points a game. But I don't see him doing more than like 50 yards and a touchdown every 3 games. But maybe.
well, he's on my fantasy team too, so I'm right in the same boat with you. But no, I don't think it's going to help. I mean, they have really no offensive line, no defensive line. They're not as good as advertised. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Well, and so you said you used to be a electrician, but I'm assuming your job has something to do with. I was so work for Con Edison as a senior designer. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah. When
Put
I was in
put
the
put
union,
that in layman terms for some people, I guess.
sure. So what we do is we're in the engineering department, but since we're union, we're called designers. So the engineers kind of come up with the rules for the electrical system, and then from there we design, maintain, and analyze the secondary system.
Awesome. Do you like that? I'm assuming you're a bigger fan of the 9 to 5 than the working on, not knowing where you're going to work one week from the next and having to work overnights and all that.
Yeah, and then when I was an electrician, when I was in the union, after I graduated my apprenticeship, in 4 years I did like 4.5 months worth of work for the union.
Hmm.
So it was just kind of like one
Jesus.
day I looked myself in the mirror and said, "Listen, forget about even trying to have a family. You can't even support yourself this way."
No,
Yep.
that's just basically,
And
you were on unemployment for 10 months out of the year, basically, or weren't even able to draw if you weren't making enough money to even like show. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, because it was 6 months of unemployment back then. Because we're talking about 2004, and then you had to
Mm.
do 6 months of straight time to get enough like credits in to get put
Mm.
in another claim. So I never
Which
had right, I
you
never had that
never.
chance.
So
So
you were a union electrician, try just doing side jobs to fucking pay your bills.
yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
there's only so much you can do because I wasn't licensed because I wasn't getting big enough jobs, to
Mm.
make a license. But at the same point, there weren't that many small jobs to be had that was worth really a lot of money.
Yeah,
So then from there, that's when I joined the utility company that I'm with now.
gotcha. Cool. Very cool.
Uh, got here one of the things, and it's really, I mean, this has to open up a little bit. You don't like being in front of people or crowds. So here you are on a podcast after you met us all at a competition where you performed in front of a crowd. Um, just to share the story of what I recall, I think I saw you and went, "Who the fuck is that? That's got to be crew." And I went running across the hotel lobby, not knowing who you were. I was like, "Who's that guy? He's got to be crew." And then I just went running over and introduced myself. So I'm sure that was probably jarring for you. Um,
Right.
you had to have been wearing a Massonomic shirt, or you just looked big. And then I was like, "That guy's here for us too, like for sure." So like, how do you not mitigate, but like, how do you overcome that? Like, hate being in front of a crowd, but here you are at the Lift Hard, Live Easy in front of the biggest crowd that even I never really lifted in front of that many people.
Um, probably it probably would go down to like what Tommy and Scanza told me that like don't it's not really a competition. You're just really lifting around a bunch of friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of how I looked at it. Um, I mean, it really didn't hit me that I was even lifting at first. I mean, obviously, you're lifting, but my first squat, as soon as I unracked it, like everything kind of went quiet, and I was just focusing on the judge to give me the squat command, and then all of a sudden I heard Tanner say, "Let's go, Big Jim," and I was like, "Oh, it's real." And then with the bar on your back, you got nothing else to do but to go down and then back up. So that's
Yeah.
what I did. But
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I couldn't even tell you who's in the front row,
yeah,
right? Like, I there was a crowd there, right?
Yeah.
All I had the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety. I remember them being there because they were just like, "This weight's unpaid. This weight's unpaid. Get to it." Like they were cracking jokes with me, and I remember the judges, but like I couldn't tell you who was in the crowd at all. And I think that's a very good perspective, right? And
yeah,
the people that are there were there for you, right?
right, absolutely. And the funny part is I couldn't even hear the rack command. So the squatter would tap me on my waist. He'd be like, "All right, man, you can rack it now."
Yeah, I mean, that's better than the alternative, I guess, of jumping and
Yeah.
fucking bombing out. So,
Yep.
I do want to touch on one thing. Probably should have had this in general topics. I forgot to add it, but Tanner posted today. Basically, I mean, we already knew the year's obviously going to be a Lift Hard Live Easy 3, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone gets anxious. Well, everyone being me gets anxious about getting registered, being able to fucking like go ahead and already plan out family vacations and shit for next year and verifying you're in the meet. So, Monday, November 11th, there will be the registration for Strongman, and then Monday, November 18th, a week later, there'll be registration for powerlifting. I know Jake's running the strongman, and Big Dave and his wife are running the powerlifting. It's going to be some other fucking random federation this year. I'd have to look it up, but I
Pee
know
pee poo poo.
Big Dave seems happy with it, and it's actually because they retroactively made it so your open powerlifting should reflect the federation that they're going to because they like basically retroactively made the XPC the other federation for the Lift Hard Live Easy 2. So basically, anyone that's on the fence about maybe going out to Aberdeen this year, well, next year, dude, sign up, do your best. Like, there's literally going to be 25 spots for strongman maybe, and they haven't released it yet. I'm assuming it's going to be another 90 lifter, two platform meet, because why would you go backwards,
Mhm.
But that shit sold out in like days last time, so I can't see there being less people. Like, I know there's some of our friends that have like are two-time veterans that might not go this year. I know you've mentioned not going, Jack and Ginger, Murph. Like, there's going to be a handful of people that can't go, but I can't imagine there's those voids don't get filled pretty easily. So
Yeah. Yeah,
basically,
it's unlikely I
don't.
make it unless I get some sort of magical fucking sponsorship.
Yeah,
But the amount of money that
don't.
I spent going to the Arnold and Aberdeen and now Crew Falls. Well,
Yeah,
Crew Falls was a crowd fund, so that's kind of out of there. But yeah, unless I get some magical way to help me offset costs, I can't do
I
it
feel
again.
that. I feel that. I'm just lucky enough to where my wife's cool, and we've put basically a ton of money in a high yield interest account that nets us a grand or two a year
And no
that can
kids,
pay. Yeah,
dinks.
being a dink, I use dink all the time now.
Yeah.
I use it with people that are also dinks and don't know what the fuck I'm saying, and I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
you've never been told this phrase because you are this, as
Yep.
am I. But basically, anyone on the fence, commit, sign up, it's kind of a double edge because like if everyone signs up and then backs out, then it's a kind of a shit show for them to fill the spots last minute. But also, if you wait, like there might not be spots. So
I'd
if you want to come,
I'd
see
love
your
to go
friends,
and just announce.
yeah,
I think I got that announcing bug at the last meet I was the announcer for, and I have so many ideas on how to make announcing for powerlifting meets look so much fucking cooler. And I just haven't had an opportunity to implement any of them because there's just the meets around me are all full of people that
yeah.
have the same idea, but then they get up there and they're just kind of boring. So like, yeah, maybe hard maybe, but I'll
Sorry about
probably
that.
go ahead. What?
No, no, I thought you were done. So I was apologizing to Jim
No,
for
I'm
stealing his
rambling
episode.
on, Keith. It's
I
what
know.
I do
I know.
best.
So sorry, Jim, but there's actually will be a good segue into some nicknames you have, and they kind of contradict each other. But we got marginalized Jim, which is what I feel we kind of just did when we talked over you and kind of stole your podcast, and then we got Tank. So
Yeah.
kind of complete different ends of the spectrum there. So tell me about those.
Okay, well, Tank comes from when I was playing softball. Years ago, I didn't have a beard. I just had a goatee, but it was like, it was a long goatee. Kind of like, I don't know I mean, if you guys like Metal
I know.
Pantera. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I like that. I thought you
yeah.
were going with Tank, the old MMA fighter.
I
So,
thought it was because your shoulder exploded, but maybe not.
so there I was. I came up to bat and I had like that really long goatee, and one of the guys in the outfield is like, "Holy shit, it's Tank Abbott!"
Oh yeah, Tank Abbott. Yeah,
And
that would have been the right
just
time frame too, like early two
yeah,
thousands, or well, late
and just
nineties almost.
Tank just stuck. And it doesn't hurt that I'm short and a little stocky, but yeah, that's where Tank comes from.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
that's who I was
We did.
thinking of. That was the wrestler. He was in
yeah,
WCW for a few
He
years.
was a wrestler, but he was also an MMA guy too.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
which was he a MMA guy first and then got into
Yep,
wrestling.
yes,
yep.
Yeah, it would have been the easier transition. Like when you basically start not being great at MMA, you can always go like be a wrestling performer essentially,
Yeah, I mean
or
it's all it's
not
all
always, but
pre-written.
I'm not saying like I'm just saying it's more going to be you're not going to have as many professional entertainment wrestlers go into MMA after the fact than you theoretically would have like retired MMA guys want to I guess either would be very difficult, but I think
Hold on.
I
Okay,
don't know.
so Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, he went MMA to wrestling
Yeah,
because
you've
he was like the
got
first Ultimate Fighter, or
yep.
not Ultimate Fighter, but fuck the
So on the one hand, you've got your Ken Shamrock, you've got your Dan Severn, you've got your Tank Abbott. Um, who else is there? There's one more I can't remember.
you can kind of consider Kurt Angle. I mean, he was a wrestler, but he was like a real
yeah
wrestler.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Lesnar.
going to go MMA for
Yeah,
him.
Okay,
But
because
that's a good point. But then you've got the alternative, which was Lesnar to MMA. CM
mm.
Punk went to MMA. Um, I feel like I'm missing one on each side, but I don't think that's.
Well, Tank Abbott, but I'm just trying to
I
remember
mentioned him.
specifically.
He was one of the
No, what
three.
Okay, was he okay?
Yeah, Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, Tank Abbott, and I feel like there's one guy that I want to say he was a Samoan guy that was an MMA fighter, and then he went into wrestling. You've also got what's her name? Not Sonya Deville. Yeah, Sonya Deville. Right. So I think that you're right. I think that their direction is more, but not as
Yeah,
hard, not as difficult.
The other one's not nothing.
Well, I mean, also the one of them's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I saw the other day that actually upset me a lot? So I don't know if you ever got into the show Heels, but it was one of my favorite shows in the last 3 or 4 years. And I was like basically getting on my app and like, oh, when's the next season coming up? Because it was like super cliffhangery. And I'm like, the fucking shit got canceled. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, Netflix picked it up as not necessarily to redo the season, but if I'm hoping that if it gets enough traction right now
seasons?
that there's 2 seasons. It's still worth watching. Like as a wrestling
no,
fan,
I know. I just
there's have to watch it. It's just
where Netflix cancels everything after 3 seasons, and that's because they have.
So it wasn't a Netflix. It was okay. It was a Stars original, I believe.
Yep, that's why I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, but it's on Netflix now, so highly, highly, highly recommend that to your watch list. Just know going into it that there's a 99% chance it's never coming back, and it was a cliffhanger last episode, but it's still very much worth the journey. And this is someone that like hasn't watched wrestling in fucking 25 years, but still enjoyed the TV show immensely. So, and then marginalized Jim, as we just did again, we marginalized you. So,
well, I was hoping he would join me in the wrestling talk because the wrestling comes up on this list so many times.
This is the Jim episode. You're allowed to talk, buddy.
No, I understand. So marginalized Jim is probably it's a work thing. Basically, we can be sitting in a room with our supervisors or managers, and I'll give them a suggestion on how to do something or improve something, and they'll just kind of look at me and they keep going. And then somebody else in the room will say, hey, and just say the verbatim what I said. And they'll be like, that's a great idea. Why don't we do that? And it's like,
that's fucked up.
And then everybody will just look at me and they're like, yeah, you're marginal.
Yeah, I was going to say, every woman listener we have just went, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with. But I mean, it would be nice once for somebody to actually just kind of be like, we'll go.
Is that all supervisors? Or you just got like someone that's got a hard on for you?
No, it's most.
I was like, don't say anything if you think anyone's going to listen to get you in trouble because I don't want to go there. But
I don't think. No, trust me, nobody's going to listen. They all think I'm crazy with this mess, and they say, "I think you have an issue." It's like, yeah, I probably do, but that's okay.
Yeah,
just but only if they knew about unpaid and underrated. Jesus, they lose their minds.
The criminality.
I think that the thing about like, where I work is that most of the people I work with have like 1 or 2 master's degrees.
Mm-hmm. So
like my education comes from my apprenticeship. So like they don't look at me like, as I don't want to say being smart, but like up to their level as far as, book-wise education. I don't have it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I sometimes don't get the right, guess correctly and get it correct.
Yeah, there you go. No, that makes sense. I can relate to that a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I'll let Joey talk about the last nickname because he'll probably do it better justice than I will if he knows what I'm talking about there.
Oh, is that the Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Screamed like Ray Liotta in the shower in Goodfellas.
Liotta?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Liotta?
Did I really? I know it's Liotta.
I swear. We'll have to have Nate do a little edit.
Ray Liotta.
Wrong again, Joey.
I might have. No, I might have because again, it's one of those things. I'm reading it, and I never say it out loud, right? So my brain was just probably like Liotta, or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it's how it's phonetically was accurate, I believe. But like, if I'm looking at the word now, and I'm trying to like, I would probably say it like you did if I didn't know that's what his name is.
So how many people do that to you?
Jimmy.
Enough. It was done a lot more with South Park.
I was gonna say that sounded when Keith did it there. It sounded more like Timmy.
Yeah, that I would get a lot more of that. But enough people, especially if I do something either really kind of like wrong or like really like crazy or funny, they'll be like Jimmy.
Jimmy.
So yeah, but that's where that probably comes from.
So what is your preferred name then? James, Jim, or Jimmy?
Jim Giroux.
Jim, but a lot of people revert to just calling me by my last name. So
Gotcha.
they just call me Riley. A lot of people.
All right.
That
And I
sounds
usually
cooler.
we hit this little. A lot of times we'll hit this earlier, but I think it must have glazed over it. Where are they going to find you out on Instagram?
So it's _Jim_Riley_.
Gotcha. And I
That's
think, are
so
you,
many
you,
underscores. How
It
do people
is.
do that?
My name seems to be very popular, and everything else I put in, it
yeah,
just
I tried to find you on Facebook for some more research, and there was 49 million Jim Rileys, and I'm like,
I'm not on Facebook.
I ain't got time for that. I'm glad I wasted I'm glad I didn't waste more than the 14 seconds I did invest to try to do more research then, because that would have
Right.
pissed me off.
Yes. So
um, I have maybe a bit of a serious talk if you guys are up for that.
sure.
Always.
So, anybody that's known me for a long time, Keith knows, Nate might know, my wife particularly knows, is, I've always come to terms with self-reflection and just all around trying to be a safe, responsible, and a person with integrity around the people around me, right? And in here, it says that you've been on that journey as well. So I assume the gardening, the reading, those are all versions of that meditation for you. What started that and how's that going for you? What does that look like to you at the end result?
I think it's made me a lot more calmer and grounded. I used to kind of be like all over the place mentally, and I find it helps me focus.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, the gardening now doesn't really happen, but when I get my house, I plan on having my own garden and growing my own food a little, whatever the deer and squirrel don't eat. But yeah, I like reading. I like reading self help books, just all sorts of stuff. I mean, I just like it. It takes my time away because, I think, if my personal opinion, I don't watch much TV, but I think there's a lot of stuff that can bring a lot of negativity into your mind. And
Mhm.
I think when you just kind of sit quiet and you just kind of, you're either out in nature or um, just trying to learn something that interests you. Um, I think that has done me a lot of good. It's kept,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I've said it before that if you asked 6 years ago who the calm person in the house was, and if they all pointed at me, you'd be shocked because I would fly off the handle. I was grumpy all the time. Like my entire presence was I was funny grumpy.
Right.
And now I'm the guy that when people are frustrated, they're like, dude, how do I get out of this? What do I do? Like, how do I deal with this? And it's just that feels better. Better than the guy that what's the word I'm looking for? Validates your negative feelings. I'm the
Mm.
guy that talks you out of them now.
Right.
I feel like my son's sleeping on me today because at the dentist, he was so brave and so strong, but he still kept looking for me, right? He would always look
Mhm.
to make sure I was still there. And then when I was in the washroom, he wanted to go lay down. Where's daddy? Where's daddy? Where's daddy? And he never sleeps with me, ever. He always sleeps in my dad's room.
Right.
But the fact that no, I need to go lay with daddy. And he didn't want to, and that's because I'm the calming presence to him, which for me means so much. So, what is the one book that somebody comes to you and they said, hey man, I need to turn things around. What do I do? What do I read? What's your book recommendation?
Uh, Probably the Bible.
Hmm?
As
Okay.
crazy as that is. Um, yeah, that would be probably the one that helped me the most.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination, but that would be the one I would probably recommend.
All right. I would have had a Be Useful by Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the Bible's a good answer as well. There's also I've read a lot of leadership books and stuff too, right? That kind of stuff that, be a person that people want to follow instead of a
Right.
person that they have to follow, like when you're their boss, that one. So, all right. Thank you for that. A
Right.
little bit of serious talk. Every once in a while, I think once an episode, we can get into some of that because it tends to go pretty well.
Yeah.
The next one I was going to do is I was going to get into Mount Rushmore FMK because we are rounding out an hour and a half soon.
Let's do it. Let me get one more. Let's see, one more general. So got you a big fan of baseball. So Mets or Yankees?
What?
Mets.
There you go.
What's the
So
difference?
that's Jim.
Oh, that was such a good response.
Ask George Costanza. He worked for both, or he
Right.
tried to work for both.
One's got 27 championships and one has 3.
Like three's better than none.
Right.
So
Uh,
just like honestly, I know shit about baseball other than when I'm watching it, I know the rules. So New York has two teams. Does one play
Yeah.
in a different borough than another? Like, are they just
yeah,
different
the Yankees
representatives
play in
of
the
boroughs?
Bronx and the Mets. Yeah, the Yankees play in the Bronx and the Mets play in Queens, not far from where I live.
Mm. hmm Okay,
So
those
it's
are all
more of
words I actually
a
understood.
geography kind of thing.
Well, most of my family is from the Bronx, but most of them are Met fans because it was like it kind of goes back to the like I guess probably the 50s and 60s when New York had the Dodgers and Giants, so
Mm.
they were like National League fans from back then.
Are they had all
And,
four, or was one of them in
no,
place of the
it
Mets
was
for the
the Dodgers,
Yankees?
it was the Dodgers, Giants, and Yankees back then,
Yeah,
and
because
then
I remember the Brooklyn Dodgers, but honestly, I think I only know of them because of the movie Frequency, because I believe they were like the baseball team featured in that movie with the whole like time jump thing, and it was like they were the game playing on the radio. Sorry.
right.
Uh, okay.
Hmm.
What do you like if you had to get like a general? What is the so however many millions of people are in New York City, Mets versus Yankees, what is the ratio of fans? Is it like I'm gonna guess and say it's 75-25 Yankees, but
Hmm.
maybe I'm way off.
That's pretty fair. I mean, the Mets are doing, a little better this year, so you kind of see a couple more Met hats here and there.
Yeah.
You always get the bandwagon fans, but yeah, for the most part, New York is 100% a Yankees fan, Yankees town. The lean years where the Mets aren't that good is probably even 90% Yankee fans.
Yeah. Do the Mets still sell out pretty regularly or always, or what's that like? Like, how's it
I
hard to
mean,
get
now
to a
that they've
game?
gotten better this year, they're doing better, but yeah, it's kind of like a lot of times it depends on who they're playing. If there's
Hmm.
somebody who wants to go see another team, not going to see the Mets.
Which would make sense because New York City is like how many transplant? Like, what's the percentage of transplants in New York City? Like 40%, give or take.
Yeah,
I
probably.
mean, so then you got 40% of the population are all from different parts of the country. At least 20% of those people love baseball and have a favorite team. So there are going to be like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that root for other teams that live in this huge fucking city that can go watch other teams play between the Yankees and the Mets. So it's kind of a win-win for them. They can just, cherry pick which stadium they want to go to and go watch their favorite team a few times a year. So anyway, I can let Joey segue there into a Mount Rushmore, and then I'll hit you with an FMK.
Actually, I'm going to do
Sure.
Nick's. Do you want to do Nick's question of the week, or do you want to do that last?
Let's get through these two, and then we'll go to Nick. Because then
I
let's do our twos, and then we'll do Nick, and then we'll go and go.
I can arrange that. I was going to do a Mount
unpaid.
Rushmore. Okay, and I have a couple here, so we'll see how one plays out, and if that one doesn't, we'll jump to the
I
next
mean,
one.
Jim's a big talker, so I think one ought to be good.
Hey, sometimes you get somebody talking about that one thing, and they'll
No,
go.
no, and I'm looking. We're
Yeah,
looking
we're
now.
gonna pull it.
We
So,
got some baseball chat.
top four metal bands, but so your Mount Rushmore of metal bands, but you cannot say Metallica, Iron Maiden, Megadeth, or Slayer.
Okay. Um, Pantera,
Okay.
Exodus,
Oh,
um, Overkill, and Anthrax.
those are very different. Very different. Very good. Pantera, I do love to an extent. I've always loved Pantera, but lately I'm just bored with it. I don't know why it comes on, and I'm just
Well,
like I've memorized every drum pattern in this song. I don't need to hear it anymore.
right. But as far as me, great metal bands or like even the ones that were influential later on, I would put them up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear the new Black Label song?
No, I did not.
No, it's called Gallows. Decent, decent.
Okay.
Okay. So then I'll do the other one I had, and I don't know why this is on here. Please, I hope it wasn't misfire. The top four conspiracy theories that people don't know about.
Wow. Uh, wow, this is a really good one. I don't know.
Okay, no,
I
that's fair.
really don't because most people I know of, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I think everything's kind of out there now. I don't think there really are any many conspiracy theories.
Like platypus.
Right. I mean, I mean,
Still ain't seen one yet.
there's the old the world isn't round; it's a flat Earth. Stuff like that. But I don't know if that's really a conspiracy theory, and I don't really I think people know about all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Keith, do you want to jump to yours?
I'm not saying it is round
Yeah.
or flat. I'm just saying it's out there.
This just in, boys and girls. Jim thinks the world is flat.
Yeah, okay, round earther.
All right, so FMK, it's a game we play here. We created it. It's 100% ours. It's original. So FMK, you familiar with the concept, Jim?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna hit you with as soon as I find it, because some reason I can't find my thing. All right, there we go. So this is gonna be it's gonna follow our Jets football topic. So I'm gonna list three former Jets football players, and you gotta give me the FMK ranking. So we're gonna go with Joe Namath, Curtis Martin, Darrell Revis, FMK. Namath, Martin, Revis.
I almost feel like you have to marry Namath because
Yeah,
he brought us the only Super Bowl we've ever had.
Broadway Joe.
I would say probably F. Curtis Martin and kill Darrell Revis.
Yeah, just because it's like basically the most youngest, the newest kind of thing. Like you get because I think Curtis Martin predate Revis probably by 5 to 10 years. I'd imagine if I get that maths right. I think Martin was
Probably
there like late '90s to like early 2000s, give or take.
right. But Revis was always seemed like there was always a problem with him, for contracts or whatever. And then
Oh
he
yeah,
left,
the
and then he came
fucking
back. And,
the Rex
yeah,
Ryan Hard Knocks where he was the holdout and shit, and then they pay him $1 billion, and then he's like, like everybody that gets paid like puts a shitty season together or gets hurt. So
right. So that's why I would say kill him.
yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. The speaking of Joe Namath there, like what was so I guess two-parter. Your perception of the situation. Well, I guess more the overall the overall Jets fan perception of when Namath, oh God, was it 10 or 20 years ago now, where he like was drunk as shit on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, and he kept telling the sideline reporter how pretty she was and he wanted to kiss her. And I'm just like, if that happened yesterday, that he'd been canceled as fuck. I think it was 20 years ago, and he still probably should have been canceled. But like, I don't. Did he get fired from like his broadcasting job or anything from that, or was there any backlash, if you recall?
I don't think there was. I don't think he was announcing at the time. So
Okay.
I think he just caught a lot of grief for just being kind of like a dirty old man that was drunk.
Yeah, sure
Um,
was.
it's actually funny because I was actually at that game, so I didn't
Oh,
see it.
nice.
Oh, geez.
Oh, so I mean, I'm sure. I mean, it's infamously it was on ESPN for like a
Yeah.
week later, and then it's on. Now it's like it's crazy to think like I haven't watched ESPN in fucking 15 years. Like ever since like you quit having regular cable and everything became apps and shit. Like I haven't had ESPN. I just I'll go to the ESPN.com, but then it's like if the fucking ad is more than a couple seconds, like I'm just not like I close the app so many times and just don't follow up on stories. It's like I'm not giving you my time. You're not robbing me of my time for me to get a little bit more of the story. Like I already got the gist and the punchline. Like fuck you. It's like shove your ads up your ass. So sorry, guys. That's my little what grinds my fucking barbell knurling this week. It's just fucking goddamn ads. They suck.
Well,
But
I was watching WWE highlights, right? Because I can't sit through 3 hours of Raw. So I actually just watched the highlights. And they're every 8 to 12 seconds.
Wow.
You get hit with a not a 30-second, but like a quick ad. And it's like, come on, I'm not paying for YouTube Premium. I pay so much for other streaming. There's got to be something that I can like mix in. It's ridiculous.
It was I want to say it was my buddy Big Lucas in Rochester. I almost like don't quote me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, but I'm like 99% sure it was him that was in the Discord. It was like because he had to watch this week's episode on YouTube because his Apple Podcasts weren't working.
Same.
And like it looked like it was a joke the way he posed it, just because we've been busting Tanner's balls about like getting the ad revenue from the YouTube or whatever. Because he was like, there was a fucking ad every fucking like 10 minutes. Like there really wasn't that many, but it was just funny because he was like as a new person watching it after like if you only watch the YouTube videos like prior to a few months ago, you don't know what we're talking about. But like if you can kind of compare point A to point B, it's like it's definitely a lot harder to get through the YouTube. But obviously they got to make their money. We get it, we understand. It's just funny because he had never watched the YouTube video and was like, what the fuck? This is a lot.
I almost never watched the YouTube video, but it definitely. What was really funny is there was one that was right where Tanner was like, "Well, let's kick everybody out, and I'm going to give them something to listen to," and then it went into a YouTube ad, and then I was like, "So I'm going to sit through this ad to
I
get
skipped
to
the
the
shit out of
strength
those.
coad. Like,
Yeah, couldn't do that. They definitely got skipped on that for me.
thought that was
I was
pretty
like,
funny.
whoops. Yeah. All right. Do we have a Big Nick question?
Yeah, yeah. If you guys remember, Big Nick hit us with a couple of these like existential larger questions. That's Nick. Is that GGA or CCA? CCA, got it. So I said every once in a while, I have a list of them. He's going to give me more, but some of these are home runs. Like they're already based on stuff that's in there. So I'm going to go with one that isn't. And this is actually for both of you.
Cool.
And maybe I'll answer it too. I don't know. What is a bucket list item that you want to accomplish in the next 10 years?
Go to the Grand Canyon.
For me, it would probably be go to Ireland.
Yeah.
That's
It's
something I
it's
always
funny
wanted to
because
go, and I've never been. I've only been to Italy once, and that was it. I went to
That's
Canada when I was younger, but that's
Canada.
yeah, Niagara Falls.
Oh, that barely counts.
Yeah, right. But that's where I would want to go.
That's fun. I wonder how many people would answer that with travel because I was going to say northern Canada. Like I want to go see like the tundra and the part that everybody says is scary, like Nunavut and Iqaluit and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to go up there. So that's fun. Travel, all three of us. All right, that's Big Nick question for the week. Good work, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. All right,
All right.
moving
Well,
unpaid and underrated.
Let's do it.
Yeah, buddy.
So, Big Jim, are you familiar with this relatively new game that we came up with all by ourselves? Very original to us. It's called Unpaid or Underrated, similar to Overrated or Underrated, but just, better. Exponentially better if you ask us.
Oh,
So anything you think that is, not the best, we'll go ahead and call that unpaid. And if you think it's pretty cool, we'll go ahead and give it underrated. So, Big Jim, I'm going to hit you with a few of these, and then Joey hit you with a couple. So I'm going to kick it off with unpaid or underrated Diet Pepsi.
Unpaid. I'm not a Pepsi guy at all. So if it was Diet Coke, you would be different. But if it was, I'm also really not a big soda drinker. But yeah, I'm not a Pepsi fan at all.
Yeah, we some of your show notes, for a lack of better words, were a little lacking. So I went back through every correspondence I had with you on both of our IGs and tried to cherry pick like just random tidbits because I was like, oh, this might segue into something funny. So some of these are just random things we had talked about over the last year or so. So
Sure, man.
unpaid or underrated deep tissue massages.
Ooh, so I've only had one, but I would definitely say they're underrated. Um, it, I couldn't. There was one point where I really kind of hurt my neck, and I went in for one, and like coming right off the table, I felt sore, but I was able to go. I was
It's
able
such a
to
good
get back to
feeling,
the
man.
gym, and it was just something I definitely want to do again. But definitely underrated.
Nice. Now, was that just after an injury, or did you say did you get it? Did you get one going into lift hard or anything like that?
Um, I think it was just a combination of like sleeping wrong and then like kind of not taking care of it and going to the
Hmm.
gym. Um, not using the best form benching, so I kind of like my shoulders would kind of come up, so it would almost be like a shrugging position as I would bench, and that just kind of inflamed my trap.
Gotcha.
And then yeah,
Well, now you know what to put you on your Christmas wish list is gift cards for deep tissue massages because if you find a good one, they're probably not cheap.
no,
I've been seeing the same massage therapist for a decade, and her prices have probably gone up, 45% in that time, at least 40%, but it's fucking worth it. Like I literally pay what I would consider like a used car payment every time I see her, but it's worth it. I was just gonna only really afford to do it quarterly.
right.
I've only ever had one, and I don't think I'll ever have another one. So it's interesting.
You probably had a
Uh,
bad one though. That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah, like I went in
I
and I was like, oh, I'm having some tightness in my right bicep. Well, I was feeling it here, but in my chest to people that can't see this. So, but I know that it's my bicep because I know those muscles are connected. And he did some poking and prodding, and I actually couldn't move my arm for 3 days. I was like, you somehow
yeah.
made it worse. Like,
So I've seen like I've had at least 20 different people give me massages, and I've had like three that were passable, and then like one that was just exceptional, and the rest were
Mhm.
just dog shit. And I felt like I wasted my money, and it was just so it is very hit or miss, but but theoretically it could potentially cost you $1,000 to find a good massage therapist if you get
Yeah.
like 10 massages or well no fuck 1,000 like it you'd only get maybe like 7 or 8 massages with that, honestly. So it could take you that long to find a good person. And then, there's such a high turnover rate with massage therapists too, that like they might be amazing at it and then not do it anymore. So my wife and I will both be fucking devastated if our massage therapist actually gets out of it, as a career. So thankfully she just, bought her house and moved her office into the basement of her house and literally spent like 40 grand remodeling it and like took out a business loan to do it. So I think she's committed to it for at least a decade, until she pays that loan off. So we're good. So Big Jim, sorry to marginalize you again. You're just so easy to marginalize, I guess. I apologize, my friend. But I'm going to go with unpaid or underrated. This is probably where you guys can mock me because I might butcher how to pronounce the name. Jim Croce?
Corsi?
Corsi? Is that it? I don't know. Corky? I don't fucking know. You Don't Mess with Jim, the song.
So I've never heard the song.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
so
I'll scratch that one.
I'll say it's underrated.
Yeah, we'll scratch that one. So unpaid or underrated beards. You seem
They're
like you're a man.
Underrated. They're definitely underrated. People, at least people I come in contact with, they think once you have a beard, that means like you're dirty. But yeah, no, I definitely think they're underrated.
When's the last time you were either clean shaved or, not nice and bearded up?
Clean shaven, probably 2011. Because I had
right before you became a power lifter. Right before you started powerlifting training.
when I first got with the utility company, I had to do a fit test yearly because I was an asbestos handler. So that's why it was for.
Gotcha. Yeah, you didn't wear the respirator.
Yeah, a nice, neat, clean beard. Probably maybe 7 years ago.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's been a while.
Been a while.
So and I actually trimmed it too short, and I said to myself, I don't like the way this looks, and I will never have a beard this short again. And I have.
Yeah, I keep doing that to myself, but mine's just now getting long enough that I can justifiably put like product in it. And I got a citrus beard balm that I love the smell of. Like I'm like doing that 2 or 3 times a day just to get the smell sometimes. So, all right, and I'm gonna pass the baton to Big Joey here.
No, it's okay. I didn't want to talk about beards at all.
Oh, that's true. Well, you can jump on in.
What is I would actually say don't overdo it on the beard balm, Keith. That'll actually cause problems in the long term. This is actually the shortest mine has been in about 9 years as well. I went and got like 6 inches taken off. And what's really funny is I was like, oh yeah, I got a bunch taken off, and Thanksgiving dinner, because Canada, we just had our Thanksgiving, right? Everybody was like, can't tell, dude. So I pulled up the before and after, and they're like, okay, that's obvious. But like in reality, you still have the giant beard. Jim, what products are you using? Any? So let's just say, because it's a common question I get. I'm thinking of growing a beard. How do you recommend I start? What are those tips that you want to give?
Well, I mean, of course, first you have to tell them is don't shave.
Stop shaving.
I mean, I was always told to give it like 6 weeks before you start trimming it. This way it kind of has a chance to grow out. And then I would, if you're going to use products, I think, a good beard oil or a good beard wash is a good place to start. And then, if you want to use balm, if it's short and you kind of gets like, that messy flyaway poofy look and you want to keep it a little neater.
That's where mine lives. It's annoying.
Right. But I really never use that much balm. I do use sometimes beard butter to kind of keep it softer, especially after I come out of the shower.
Yep.
But that's really about it. I mean, some people, they blow dry and do all this styling and stuff like that. I don't have that much time.
I don't have time for that shit. My barber, like sometimes I get the thing under my chin. Yes. So like if I take the kids to the hospital and they're like, you have to wear a mask, like I'll have it like it turns into a U. So she'll blow dry that out for me. I use oils because by the time I use any balm, I go through half a can in one sitting because I have more beard than the balm can handle. So I just use oils.
My beard's still like all my beard is still basically attached to my chin. Like everything's within 2 inches from my face. So it like kind of just rubs right into my cheekbones where you're like, you got fucking 7 inches down there dangling.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she didn't. Not to me at least. So the only thing maybe we left out was wash your face. Wash and moisturize your face because your beard is going to pull the moisture out of your skin. And what that does is that makes an overmoist beard. That's how you get itchy. That's how you get beard dandruff, is because you're not taking care of the skin around it. So if that's your problem, well, it just gets too itchy. It's like, well, then wash your face, psycho. Like once or twice a day, use a good moisturizer, use a long-term moisturizer. That will go away after a little bit. But that would be the big one there. Yeah, beard oil I use is at Calgary, Alberta. It's Viking branded, which is how I found it. But then just like his scents are amazing. The oil he uses is incredible. I got a bunch of friends local that do it as well. So like you can always find people that'll make something that suits your fancy. So moving on from beards, good beard talk. And it is a common thing. I get random Instagram messages from people I haven't talked to in like 7 years. And they're like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm okay. What do you want? And they're like, well, my husband's growing a beard, or I'm thinking of growing a beard. What's your advice? And it's like, do I just need to like create a thing where just watch
just do
weirdo?
a Google Doc that you can just copy and paste to make that your
Yeah,
life
or just
easier.
make a reel and just go watch this and it'll increase my views or something, right? All right.
Is it what's your Viking theme and what's the name of it? Because the one I've been using, it's called Striking Viking, which I find to be very amusing, but I think it's just an Amazon brand, so I don't know how if it's that good or not. But they got citrus, so I can't go wrong with it. Orange beard.
So I found this guy when I have a thing that when I travel and I have an opportunity, I go and I try and find local beard companies.
Well, there you go.
Right. So when I went to Alberta with my brother, I just Googled like local blah blah blah. Found that the mall had a beard shop and they carry like their consignment. So I went in and I was like, I want this. And she was like, okay, but let me show you this. And that's when I found this company. It's called Feed Your Beard, Valhalla Beard Company or whatever.
Gotcha.
She was like, this scent is cucumber and Jaeger. She'd never met me in my life. And then I was like, what? Like that sounds incredible. It was called the Berserker blend, right? And it is like you put it on and you hit the cucumber, then the fennel hits you, right? The black licorice and all that. And then you just smell amazing all day. And then from there, I was just like, I used that bottle. That was the first bottle I ever used to its full in like 2 months. So I was like, shit, now I got to get more of this. Then he had one that's called the Yggdrasil, which honestly just smells like it just smells like forest moss. And I just love smelling like trees. It's my favorite scent is if I could just smell like I fell asleep in a forest and woke up one day, like years later with like moss for a beard. And that's what that smells like. So yeah, I strictly use this stuff. The citrusy stuff I don't like. It's too overwhelming. Teach their own. The perfumey stuff I don't really care for. The leather smell, I don't like the leather smell. It overwhelms Morgan. It overwhelms me. So yeah, that's beard talk. Welcome to Unpaid and Underrated.
All right, Jim, you gotta stop talking, man. You're running away with it. No.
Hey, that was good beard advice.
No, it was. No, it was good.
One thing I don't like tobacco smells. That's
absolutely.
Yeah, God, I want to vomit at anything that tobacco-y.
It's too much. And overly mint. Mint smells following me around all day. Like I don't mind menthol eucalyptus, like if I'm stuffy or something, but I don't want to smell like that all day. Okay, unpaid or underrated, clipping your nails at your desk.
Oh man, that's definitely unpaid. There's I have a few coworkers like that.
That's wild.
We'll just sit there and all you hear is clip, clip, clip.
I'd fucking kill him. I'd literally die. I'd go berserker, if you will, with the beard oil.
We actually had a conference room, which has now been turned into an office for a VP. But in there, every Monday morning, we would come in and we would take our break in there because they had a TV and we would just watch the news for 15 minutes. And there would always be a pile of toenail clippings.
Oh, what the fuck?
And so we used to call the person the toenail bandit.
Jesus.
But we never found out who it was. We tried, but it probably was somebody who was working there over the weekend. But it's some gross stuff. It really is. Listen, I understand if you don't want to. I mean, I kind of understand if you don't want to clip your nails at home because you don't want them flying around your living room or whatever. But go stand outside.
Yeah.
Don't be doing it with his people where you work.
Do you work with I wonder if you work with Big Quinn, because this sounds like a practical joke. He would have pulled at his office.
No, unfortunately, I don't work with him.
So like
But
I loathe the sound of clipping nails. Like I can't fucking handle it. I think I've mentioned it here a few times. It is the most like I can deal with mine. I can tolerate. It's kind of like people that like they can see their own blood, but if they see someone else's blood, they'll pass out. Like I'm that way with nails. Like my wife and I have like an ongoing battle of like when she can cut her nails, and it fucking better not be when I'm around. But I can clip mine all the time. But I will clip my nails at work if I'm completely alone and I'm basically like over a trash can and there's
right.
no one else around me, or if I'm driving and I just like do it at a rest stop, because like there's times if I'm like, I look down, I'm like, oh, my fucking nails are a little long, and I need to kill 10 minutes before I go back to the office, so I sit there and clip my nails real quick. Like I will do it at work sometimes. I'm sure as fuck not doing it in an office building in a setting with other people around. That's the most go fuck yourself. Like that's the I'm better than you and I'll do whatever the fuck I want mentality. People that like that just need to be fucking. I don't know. They've never been punched in the face, I guess, because that's fucked up. Sorry.
I clean my
I
nails a
did
lot at
too.
work. Because like and Morgan will back me up.
That's different from clip.
My nails
Yeah.
grow. Like I'll clip my nails and then 2 days later go, what the fuck? How are these so long? And she just says, like, from an outsider perspective, that my nails just grow dumb fast.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like I'm clipping them twice a week. So there's always shit under them. There's always. So I'll be at work just like I'll have my pocket knife out and just like using this fucking pocket knife to scrape out my nails. It probably looks weird if you're watching from
No, it's like
but like
it's like, can I sell you something?
yeah.
Customer that sees me at a distance with a knife in my hand, just fucking, Neanderthal-y, like digging into him at work.
All right. Unpaid or underrated office politics.
Ooh, I would kind of say underrated because they kind of make the day go by.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not one to really get into them, but it's always nice to hear a good good rumor or good some good gossip. So I would say that it's underrated.
All right. Unpaid or underrated? Loud chewing.
Oh, those are the same people that clip their nails
Mhm.
to death.
Probably. Yeah.
It is 100% unpaid. Yeah, some of these people they chew like cows. That's all you hear like all day long. These people eat, and you're like, you got to be on your sixth or seventh meal, and it's only like 11 a.m. Like and oh yeah, it that's actually one of my pet peeves is chewing with like your mouth open or like loud, or both.
Yep. Mouth
That
noises
makes
in
me feel
general.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but then now that I have kids, it's one of those like I'm gonna have to get over that because they think it's the best to just sit
Well,
there and just like with their spit and stuff, and you're just like, I can't kill you.
well, these people are my age and
Morgan wouldn't
older.
like that.
It's not even like they're if they're kids, you can excuse it. You know what I mean? Because it's a kid.
Yeah,
But like when you're like an adult and like been an adult for many years, you
yeah,
should know that that's not the way you chew your food.
yeah. You pay bills and shit, dude. Like you need to close your mouth when you eat.
Right.
I kind of learned that like most people don't really change. Like who you are at 15, a lot of people are still who they are when they're fucking 40. Like, and granted, not everyone, but there's a lot of people that like. Granted, like you obviously can deal with responsibility, but like the things that are annoying about you at 15 probably haven't changed. The things that
Well,
other
that's
people
that's
find
embarrassing.
annoying.
That
Yeah.
I feel bad for people like that because they're definitely
Yeah.
change is good. Everything is fine. All right, I think you passed unpaid and underrated, my friend.
Glad to
You
hear that.
do.
We can air this episode.
So I do have one. We don't have to make it an unpaid or underrated, but it's something that we had talked about. And I'm just curious as a follow up. Did you ever end up doing any of those James Strickland heavy unracks that I was doing that we talked about at one point? Like where
I
you just
did
unrack
for a
like
while. Yeah.
what do you think about those?
I think they're actually pretty cool.
I thought they were
I do
cool.
think
Yeah.
they help. Sometimes I don't. I might have been able to put a little more weight on than I did, but I did. That was the time when I was struggling with my neck and shoulder injury, so
Yeah,
I
that'd
didn't
be
want to
hard to
push it
really
too
over.
much. The last thing I need to do is have it come down on me.
Yeah, no, that makes
But
sense, especially
no,
if
I
you're doing.
definitely think it's good to do. Even like I've seen people doing for squats, like just heavy walkouts.
Yep,
I
same
think
concept.
it's good for you to feel the weight, even if you're not moving it, just to have that in your hands or on your back or whatever. So I definitely think they're definitely good to do.
Agreed. Cool beans. Well, do you have anything for us, Big Jim?
Um, I guess maybe one for each and then one for the both of you.
Do
Sure.
it. Got plenty of time, buddy.
Um, okay, so I guess the first one would be for Joey.
All right.
As an American who's never really been to Canada, if I would to ever come up there, what Canadian beer would you recommend that's probably only in Canada that I have to try?
Mm. So obviously Alexander Keith's.
Okay.
That's my favorite. It's Scance's favorite. It's what they drink in the East Coast and through a lot of Canada. Does it have to be one, or can I give different
Oh, whatever
reasons
you
for
want.
several? Okay, so there's that one. There's Moosehead, which is
Okay.
Canada's oldest brewery. In I can't drink it. There's something in it I'm allergic to, but I do appreciate that other people appreciate it. And then there's the Pilsner. So those are both East Coast beers. But then there's the Pilsner with the white rabbit on the can out of Alberta. It's literally just called Pilsner. It's a green can. It's got a little white rabbit somewhere on the can.
Nice.
And yeah, that one's only Canadian and it's pretty popular everywhere.
Cool. Well, when I come up there, I will definitely check it out.
Let's do it.
Okay, Keith. Having competed in strongman and powerlifting, what do you enjoy the most to train and why?
Hmm. Damn, that's Druthers inducing.
Yeah.
Fuck. So what do I enjoy the least currently? What I guess would be bench. So we'll knock that out. I know that's not the question, but I'm trying to I'm trying to get there by deduction. I've just anything overhead press has really been my bread and butter lately. It's been helping with a lot of my neck pain. Um, I hate a lot of aspects of strongman, like doing carries sucks balls. But I mean, it's fun and it's fun in the extent of like it's different, but it's not like I really enjoyed squat benching and deadlifting for a decade. It just got fucking maybe I enjoyed it for 9 years, not necessarily the last year. But currently, I will take any if something happened and all I could do was like train the same lift for the rest of my life, it would be a form of overhead pressing. Like that is the only thing I care about currently and for the foreseeable future. Um, it's just more fun. Like lifting something overhead is exponentially more fun to do than bench pressing. And
Mhm.
I loved, and bench press was my bread and butter for years and years and years. I never got to that fucking 300-pound bench, and I might not ever do it because I might not ever fucking focus on bench for a long portion again to like really build the pecs back up. But I mean, the fact that if I could fucking overhead press 200 strict, then I should be able to bench 300 fucking pause. But we'll see if we ever get to either of those. A lot of goals right now so I have Static Monsters in 9 days. This should be the last episode that comes out before I compete in my third Strongman show. So it's a very, it's technically a Strongman show, but it's only going to be 2 to 3 events depending on if I end up doing the stones. Hate doing stones immensely. I hate stones so much. I was at the Strongman gym last week with Big Chris Mark. And they were like, "Oh, let's do the stones." So it was like a ladder of stones. And the head strongman coach there, when he was returning the 200-pound stone, because it went 175, 200, 220, and up on stones, and I got the 175, and then it was time for the 200, and they fucking broke the stone before I got to it. Like the
Ah,
guy like he like dunked it and shattered it,
Ah,
and then it was 220, which I've done. I've loaded 220 before. I think I've loaded 240 before, but he was practicing to get a really high extension. So instead of being at 48 inches, he was at 56 inches, and I'm like. Ain't no fucking way I'm getting 220 to 56 inches. Like that ain't like 56 inches is like my fucking chin. So it's like
right.
no. Uh, so I think I gave it a half-hearted attempt and was like, I'm good. And I was like kind of excited because it was like you miss your out. So I was like, shucks, I missed. I get to go clean this fucking tacky off and then like kind of chill for a while. But I know it was the long-winded way to answer. Just man, anything overhead pressing. Like right now it's log just because I got the competition as log. Do I like axle more than log? Maybe. Like they're both fun. I need to be efficient at both of them for competition. for competition, but I think my favorite bar for the simplicity of where I can just set it up and do it in the basement. I love overhead pressing with my Cadillac bar. It's such a good feeling bar. Like the middle grips on the cambered Cadillac bar to me is so underrated to do as an overhead lift. And I mean, there should be enough carryover to have it still be like log adjacent. Um, but yeah, I think that is my most fun lift. It's just not really it's not powerlifting or strongman necessarily, but it's one that I can easily train in the basement, and I know I'll be able to do all winter long and not affect, like, I won't be able to log press in the basement necessarily, but I can
Right.
fucking, do that Cadillac bar. So highly recommend anyone on the fence about strongman, just start doing some more overhead pressing. And if you really like that, that's literally the first step for me is, get and find your love for overhead pressing, I guess. Because I sure as hell have. I just need to get better at it.
Right. Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
And I guess for the both of you, I mean, I know I think you guys put an Instagram story out over this week, kind of touching on this a little. But did you guys think this podcast would ever take off the way it did and still be going?
What do you mean? Can you take
Like
off the way it?
having did you think it would last this long and like you would have this many guests and this much fun and it's kind of like now you guys have banners and flag and and
Oh,
a shirt and like just kind of like take off like that.
no. Um, okay, yeah, because that was my post that I put out there. So I guess that's why Keith said, Joey, go ahead, answer this one. So, um, yes and no. I knew some insight here, I guess, for everybody. This is going to put us over 2 hours. That we had an unlimited pool. We had unlimited input. I knew that once we left it open for people to help us, that it would go in any which direction. I think that if we tried to make this the Keith and Joey podcast, which as much as it kind of has become, but if we tried to make this ours and we set the rules and we wrote everything and we tried to maintain control, I don't think we would have gone as long as we did. But I knew we wouldn't do that. I knew that at the beginning we had 350 potential guests. So right there's a year, right? And then I also had all big math. Yeah. I had all of these other ideas. The wives episode actually stems from a joke I think one of the Davids made before this even came out. Right? So I like all of these things getting Siri on. I had that idea in the first like 3 weeks. Right? And then when it happened. And so I think that there is I have to have my druthers on that. I think I have to ride the line. Yes and no. If I was going to go look now and go, we've got shirts, banners, international listeners, right? People recognize me when I go to like Aberdeen or the Arnold or things like that, like, I don't think I ever saw that coming. But I think I knew when we started this podcast, we'd at least have a portion of the crew supporting us all the way. Right. And then there's also the potential, I've said it before, that the best thing I can do is make this something that I can walk away from. Right. Not that that's my plan in the near future, but to have this as this is unpaid and underrated. This is the format. This is what we do. I don't need to do it anymore. I feel comfortable in the hands of somebody who gets it. And then that means that it just has even longer potential. Like it has a longevity to it that if you build the brand and you build the framework, then me and Keith don't need to be here. There can be episodes without us. There could be weeks without us. We're both just done. Like I lost my voice in a motorcycle accident or something crazy, right? We're just something I don't need to do it anymore, but we built it in a way that it's just going to always continue. So, but again, at the same time, seeing unpaid and underrated banners in people's gyms is wild. I didn't see that coming at all. Having Carp send me shirts, having Tanner help me with, things on the side, like jokes and things like that. Like that's just, being able to talk to Huck Finn on a regular basis. And that's all because of what we're doing here. Right. So Keith.
Yeah. Did I see us lasting this long? Essentially, I knew that I was never going to give up on the podcast from the second I had it as an idea fucking 2 years ago or whatever. I was like, if this ever gets off the ground, I'm going to ride it into the fucking dirt no matter what. The hardest part I've seen with my friends that have done other podcasts is the logistics of someone editing it and producing it and just getting people coordinated to meet up once a week for an hour to 2 hours. And didn't know if Joey was going to be able to commit to that every week. And so, which is funny because I think like episode 3, he went to a baseball game and I didn't have my phone, so I didn't know he wanted to reschedule. And then after that, he's been here every episode. So like it was just, we have both made the sacrifices to make it and be here every week. I think that's honestly not half the battle, but it is 25%. Just people being available and willing to set personal stuff aside to be on the podcast is legitimately like it's not nothing. Like it is a large aspect, and being able to, rely on Nate to do all the back end stuff for us and run the website. Like I said, I've said it a million times. Like we would not have this if there wasn't the three-legged monster or the three-headed monster. It just wouldn't be possible.
Or,
yeah.
I mean, let's not forget that what everything you're saying is correct, but really what it came down to, my hesitancy, Keith, was I don't know how to do that stuff. I don't know how to host a podcast or build a website. I can get on here and talk all day. I can commit to twice a week getting on here and yapping. But then when it comes to there were times where I was FaceTiming Nate in the middle of the day being like, what the fuck, dude? I'm sharing my screen. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. And Nate, and then we also there's the hosting costs and all of that kind of stuff that, there's a reason we read Massonomics ads every week because Tanner and Tommy, if we had to pay for that, I bought a whole new laptop, I bought a microphone, I bought all this stuff, but the yearly or monthly cost of hosting, Massonomics stepped up and was like, no, you do it.
Yeah, if Tanner texted me tomorrow and said, we got to cut you guys off, like, I mean, at this point, I'd pay for it out of pocket.
Yeah, we could split that easy.
But a year ago, $300-400 a year, eat a dick. I'm not fucking paying that. Like that's a lot of money. Like especially if you get, because like I can get crew tell me they want to support us all the time, but then push comes to shove and we don't get any help. Like, nah, it ain't happening. So the fact that Tanner literally, here's a credit card, boom, do what you need to do kind of thing. I was like, okay. But now we got to do it. Like I feel like we'd let them down now. It's almost like hiring a coach. Like you hire a coach almost for the accountability. Like Tanner is the accountability. It's not. I mean, not really. Like I love doing this, but it maybe in the back of your head, it's kind of there of like they believe in us enough to do this. Like I don't want to let them down. As far as seeing our fucking logo, like I'm trying to think. Like I think I had the first banner made. And I don't even remember who got the second or third one or not, but it snowballed. And then I got the homie at fucking Plate Snacks that actually literally convinced him after he got like 10 order over the course of a few months. I think I was DMing him back and forth. I was like, how do I make this easier? Because I'm really fucking tired of like having to have 30 DMs back and forth between you and the person ordering and this, that, and the other. Like, is there a way to put this, even if it's a private link and it's not even on your website? And he's like, no, I'll just throw it on the website. And I was like, awesome. So like that's just crazy that people fucking have our podcast. Like how shitty would we feel too if like people are just paying $50 for these banners to get in their house, and then we like just we stop the podcast because we just don't want to do it anymore, and then they're stuck with this fucking banner. Like that's just not that that's super motive. I mean, it's motivating. It's all a fraction of a percent of motivation, but that shit all adds up to be like when you don't want to do it that day, that 5% of motivation from outside sources that if it's there or not really doesn't matter. Like it kind of only matters on the days, I guess, when I don't want to be here, which is very seldom, if not ever, honestly. But I think just having that in the back of your head, that extra motivation, I just feel that like, I don't know what's going to stop us. I think, the only thing that's going to stop us is if Massonomics and crew altogether dies. Like I honestly see this podcast in some format going until the day they stop recording. And then I would probably try to still go. Even then, I'd probably try to carry it on because if I still have a backlog of people, because I don't see Massonomics stopping unless somebody has a fucking catastrophic life event.
Yeah.
Or they're like 60. But like, I mean, none of us are Springs chickens. Like Tanner's going to be 40 in a couple years. Tommy's right behind him. Like Tommy, yeah, they're going to be like, so like, I mean, Jim, you've been following Massonomics for a decade, basically, just under. So they just have to double that and they're fucking like, they're 50. and Scance is 75. Like
It's not.
I know.
At the airport, we were talking about the long ass layover I had in MSP, right? I was wearing like short shorts and a sleeveless shirt. And now I'm getting all these texts being like, "Oh, we're here. Where are you? We're here. Where are you?" And 10 people showed up, all wearing unpaid and underrated shirts, and I was the only one not. And I was like, "Fuck! Now I gotta change, I guess, right?" But like that was overwhelming, and I couldn't even show it because I had to be like semi-professional and everybody else. But in my head, I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like that's my podcast. I do that.
When I wouldn't say it's like when I knew we arrived, but a thing that just like farther emphasized how like we're doing something all right is when the unpaid and underrated t-shirt did not appear in the 50% off discount sale a couple weeks ago, because I would have like that was like a thing we had in the group chat. I was like, man, I fucking hope this doesn't show. Like I'm gonna feel so bad because like Tanner updates me every now and then of like new sales, and like we've sold through about half of them or so as of a few months ago, and like he'll update me with any new purchases so I can verify that those crew kind of honestly get a little bit more of a boost up on the hey, do you want to be on the podcast? Because like if you fucking buy our shirt, you're gonna supersede someone that hasn't to some extent, because that's just showing us support. Like it's showing our sponsor support. So I love it. I'm going to be here until something catastrophic happens to you, me, Nate, Tommy, or Tanner. Like I don't see a reason, or our family. You know what I mean? Like I don't see what would stop us other than that. I mean, but there's a lot of variables because that's fucking five people with 5 families, and anything could happen at any day. But like if Massonomics exists, I don't see a world where unpaid and underrated doesn't. To some extent. I wish we could put more. I wish someone would step up and help us with Instagram and actually make content for us. I know I've asked this dozens of times, but I know everyone's busy, but like we don't have time to do it. And I know that's a running joke is Keith doesn't have any time to do anything, but like eat a dick. I really don't. Like
I barely even post on my personal one. I realized that the other day. Like I have like 2 posts a week at this rate. And at the same time, I think that there's a limit where we have to be careful what we post. Because the Brad the Pad stuff that went up today, I was 30 seconds from texting Tanner and going, "Hey, can I throw all of that up on unpaid and underrated?" And then when he was like, "Send these, keep posting, I'm going to do something." And I was like, "Okay, so I know I'm not going to do something." So that's the other one, whereas I don't want to take that content from them, right? So sometimes I see things and I'm just like, "No, that's not for us. Like that's not ours."
That is
so
a balance. That is a hard balance. And sometimes I'm like, yeah. What was I gonna say? But because I took 2 screen grabs of the 2 memes, the initial 2 before Tanner even said anything, and then I went to work, and I don't carry my personal phone at work, so I didn't even see anything. So I was kind of like I was in before Tanner got involved. So if anyone's looking, like I didn't steal his idea. I think he stole my idea, but not really. But I don't know. What do you think? So Jim, as someone that basically watched Massonomics evolve, have you seen Unpaid and Underrated evolve?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we have a legitimate 1.5-year backlog, so
you guys have definitely evolved. I think the more you do, it's with anything else, you get more comfortable and you get you refine your skills, and you can definitely see you guys have definitely done that. And I mean, I've tried to catch up. I think there might be a couple like I haven't caught up on before you with YouTube, but for the most part, I think you guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate it.
Anything, I mean, just stopped kind of following up the wives episode with me, but we do what we can.
The wives episode was good, but no, I mean, like I said, I'm. It was kind of fitting that you're on here because you literally have almost everyone. Like you are such a low number. Like that's crazy. Like it's always weird when I meet someone that's like, how do we not have a better rapport? Like we don't have a longer rapport. Like I don't think I knew you existed until a month before Lift Hard Live Easy or something in that line. Maybe don't quote me on that, but like within a year of Lift Hard Live Easy, I didn't, the second one even, I don't know that we talked too much. Like I don't remember, but Jim hasn't been in my
Jim wasn't at the first one, were you?
No.
And so if I recall correctly, you said that you didn't really even join the Discord or start being active in the Discord until leading up to the Lift Hard Live Easy 2.
Right. Like I joined the crew in, I think, August of 21. Yeah. Right, because next year will be 4 years. So August of 21. Yeah. But like, I wasn't really that active. And it just seems like if you step away for like a few hours in the Discord and you come back, it's like, we're on a whole different topic.
Yeah.
Just a whole new
Discord's
running
hard.
joke and everything. Yeah. But
Discord's hard.
I kind of I kind of was kind of quiet in the Discord, but then getting up to the meet, that's when I started reaching out to people, just either for some advice on how to prep or what to bring, or something like that. So that's how I started becoming a little more active, and then of course meeting everybody was really kind of not that I'm super active now, but I'm more active than I've been, even on Instagram.
Well, yeah, well, that's my goal is to always get people to kind of go follow crew on Instagram, especially like I just even posted today. Like, do you have a private account? I think that might be the
It's just
issue.
one
You don't?
account.
Okay, I thought no, I mean like, is it a public account or a private account?
Oh no, it's private. Yeah.
Yeah, so private crew or like I almost never follow private accounts back. So sometimes I'll DM them just to be like, who the fuck are you? But like if I don't like, it's so hard to follow a private account back. It's like this is just a tiny little thumbnail. I don't know who the fuck you are. So,
Right.
but so that's why I tried to today. I posted who our guest was and I tagged your Instagram. So when everyone to go follow Big Jim, his private account. He is not a he's not a villain. He's just a crew that wants to keep it a little private, but he'll let all the crew go follow him. He'll follow back. So Big Jim, you want to hit us one more time with where they can find you at?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram is _Jim_Riley_, and that's RILEY Riley.
Perfect. And
Other way.
and either before or after you hit up Big Jim, go ahead and use all of our affiliate link ad read. Fuck, and that's not what I'm not supposed to say that word. God damn it! Jesus Christ, this is my first time. This is my first time doing a podcast. So we obviously have some affiliates. They're our friends. They're your friends. Help save you some money and get us in a speedboat. So Obsidian, Barbell Rescue, Plate Snacks, Home Gym Con, Build Fed Strength, and apparel from the Strength Co. Use code UNPAID at all of our friends' websites and save a little money. And Big Joey, where are they going to find you at, buddy?
On the Instagrams in particular, just my name, Joey_Malesko. I only have one underscore. I feel like I'm underperforming in the underscore world right now.
Or are you over undering? I don't know. That's too many unders in there. It's a double under tundra. I'm
Overscore.
So we always have an Instagram, unpaid and underrated podcast. We got the website Unpaid Intern. Go follow us on the YouTube. I'm Keith Honeycutt. You can follow me on Instagram at Keith Honeycutt73. More importantly, go follow my Orange Gem, the No Wine Cellar, and we will see you next Tuesday.